Hey guys, tonight we're defying the laws of cartography in a dim apartment above Seville's Plaza de Pilatos. Your finger tracing a paper river that could drown empires. You unroll the map. It crackles like burning sugar, each crease exhaling dust from centuries of lost footsteps. Lantern light gutters as shadows stretch into cathedral-shaped teeth across your desk. Trust me, you'll want to keep that window closed. Certain streets here swallow tourists whole. Now for our nightly ritual press that like button if your spine just tingled at the word swallow. Subscribe to, no pressure though. Seriously, only hit it if you're genuinely into getting haunted by Iberian folklore at 3 a.m. Sound off in the comments. Where's your screen glowing right now? Bilbao, Bangkok, Dubuque. Let's see how far this insomnia reaches. Dim your lights, go on. Crank that fan up until it whirs like a drowsy wasp nest. Good, let's fold. The map resists at first, stiffened by age, and what palace archivists called the breath of impatient kings. Your thumbnail finds the Guadalquivir River's first bend, a scar left when Seville split from Moorish rule. Historians still argue whether the Alcázar's gardens were designed to mirror paradise or just show off some caliph's exotic plant budget. Doesn't matter now. You're not here for facts. You're here to outwit paper. Corners align with military precision, north meeting south like quarreling lovers. 400 years ago, someone pressed a rose into this parchment's fibers. You can almost smell it, decay pretending to be perfume. The ink bleeds slightly, a 1620s printing error turned accidental tributary. Your left thumb lingers on Triana's ceramic workshops, overcooked by noon sun, yet somehow still perfect. A moth dives at the desk lamp, casting twin shadows of its panic. You pause. Maps hate haste. 5 heartbeats pass before resuming. Fold 2 bisects the Giralda, turning the tower into a paper dagger. Careful, bell towers remember being minarets. They resent symbol swaps. Here's a fun fact they'll never teach in history plexiglass boxes. Spanish mapmakers once stored charters with cinnamon sticks to repel silverfish. Worked better than security guards. Not that you'd know your pantry's all instant ramen and existential dread. Laugh softly. The map absorbs vibrations it approves. Third fold. The Plaza de Toros shrinks into a bloodless origami bull. Good riddance. Your index finger traces Cal Sirps, once slithered with silk merchants, and the occasional pickpocketed duke. Modern tourism pamphlets omit how the street got its name. No snakes involved unless you count those leather belt vendors by the Zara. Air conditioning buzzes, the fan's lazy cousin. A car horn bleats 6 stories below. You flatten the map with both palms, crushing modern noise into its fibers. Sheets slap the iron balcony railing next door. Someone's doing laundry at midnight. You envy, but no. This ritual demands solitude. Fold 4 seals the city's eastern gate, the last defense against invasive thoughts. Ever notice how creases multiply when you're not looking? Like regrets. Parchment warps under humidity's invisible siege. Your pinky smudges a coffee ring from 2006. Previous owners, caffeine cursive. Today's planners would have used an app. Tragic. Paper remembers. Pixels. Not so much. Another moth kamikazes, sacrificing itself to your lamp's faux sun. You wonder if insects understand devotion. Then, wonder why you're projecting onto something with a 3-day lifespan. Fold 5 respects neither mortality nor Google Maps. It bisects the university, hinging law students to theology majors like some academic shotgun wedding. Outside, a street lamp dies mid-flicker. The map's edges curl in sympathy. You smooth them, shushing the paper. Lantern oil stains blur into phantom islands. Columbus probably wept over similar blots. Not your problem. Focus. Your elbow knocks a pen. It rolls, clattering into the void beneath the fridge. Leave it. Missing pens birth better stories anyway. Fold 6 aligns Santa Cruz's alleys, forcing tourists into single-file despair. The Jewish quarter breathes softly. You tuck its whispers into triangle flaps. Left thumb cramps. Shake it out. A jazz pianist prepping for nocturnes. 13% battery glow mocks from your phone. Let it. Your charger's across a minefield of floor creaks. Better to embrace the medieval aesthetic. Humidity clings to your neck now, Seville's specialty. Fold 7 traps it willingly. The map swells pregnant with ghost rivers and unattributed graffiti. If you squint, yes, there's your reflection in the ink-dark Guadalquivir. Younger. Never mind that. Fold before nostalgia sinks you. Fingernail snags on Carthage Island. A peninsula's identity crisis, made literal. 34 monks once fermented communion wine here. 62 people currently binge-watch Netflix there, times a flat circle, just like this map's stubborn refusal to stay folded. Your knee cracks, betraying either age or poor yoga habits. The map laughs in parchment cracks. Bastard. Fold 8 retaliates, crushing the Torre del Aro into obedient geometry. Gold dust from some plundered Aztec. Please, that's just street lamp glitter. A siren wails 3 blocks east, ambulance or police. Doesn't matter. Fold 9 mutes it, paper over sound. Your spine molds to the chair's betrayal of ergonomics. One more fold, but tradition says wait. Breathe. Exhale through the nose. Let the map inhale too. Rumors say Felipe III's ghost haunts the Alcázar, checking if tourists bought tickets. Tonight, he's watching you misalign a crease. A king's huff ruffles the curtain. Ignore monarchs. They're just posh ghosts with better outfits. Final fold. Edges meet. Seville disappears into your palm. Traffic noise dissolves into parchment muffle. Somewhere below, a man sings off-key flamenco. You envy, alarm blares. Phone dies mid-siren. Perfect. The map thrums triumphant. 12:47 a.m. winks from the microwave. Streetlights bow. You're done though something prickles between your shoulder blades. The ritual takes what it needs, a strand of hair, maybe a suppressed giggle. Unfold. Never. Not until dawn licks the rooftops. For now, let the city sleep in your grip. Let roads dream their rivers. Let the Guadalquivir forget it's just ink. Let your eyelids wait. That 13th fold looks uneven. One more adjustment. The breeze carries more than orange blossoms tonight. It hums with centuries of failed siestas. You catch a petal mid-fold sticky with residue from the city's 1,000 bitter oranges. Historians still argue whether the Moors planted them for perfume or pure spite. Those 12th century, green, thumbs new drama. Each crease exhales a scent sharp enough to peel time itself, citrus, and something muskier underneath, like forgotten love letters pressed between pages. Your thumbnail scores a valley through Triana's streets. They resist, clinging to their ceramic ghosts. A rogue gust threatens the map's northeast corner. You pin it with your elbow, improvised tactics they never taught in geography class. The paper remembers its origin. 13 presses with a linen rag per sheet. That's how the Medina family perfected their craft in 1492. Their watermark hides here still, a tiny Giralda tower in the fiber. Orange trees, nature's passive-aggressive houseguests. They drop fruit that's all pith and pucker, armed citrus grenades rolling underfoot. Local legend claims their roots clutch Roman, tax records, and Visigoth curse tablets. Archaeologists found a 4th century bronze hand mirror beneath Plaza de Pilatos last year, still flecked with lead-based makeup. Makes you wonder what your folds might bury tonight. The paper resists a diagonal pleat. City planning meets origami warfare. You lick your fingertip, old habit from library days, and taste sepia. British marmalade barons once tried smuggling Sevillian seeds. Turns out the trees refused to grow polite. Imagine that, entire orchards giving colonialists the middle leaf. Your laughter stirs a dust moat ballet above the map. Folding maps is easier than folding fitted sheets, but only slightly. There's a method, half flip while maintaining tension, like tucking Seville itself into bed. Your wrists recall the motion from last Tuesday's laundry crisis. Theorists whisper about coded folds during the Spanish Inquisition. Supposedly heretics hid subversive roots in pilgrim maps. No evidence unless you count that drunk historian's TED talk last spring. Mid-crease, you freeze. A shadow pulses beneath the paper too large for your lamp's sway. Maps breathe. You felt it before. That slight expansion when humidity shifts, the cartographic equivalent of a cat stretching. Tonight's humidity, 80%. The Guadalquivir's left margin already curls like a Beckham free kick. Muscle memory takes over, fingers press harder, where the Alcázar's gardens bloom. Queen Isabella once got lost here for 3 hours. Court documents blame poorly labeled topiaries. You align parallel paths, calajon after calajon, until the crease bleeds northward. Rain taps the window in Morse code. Or maybe it's that woodpecker who's hated you since July. One section resists. Santa Cruz Quarter Ground Zero for tourist selfies and stray guitar chords. You iron the wrinkle with your palm, heat rising through skin and parchment alike. Street musicians here still play niches where Jews hid Torah scrolls during pogroms. The stone remembers, even if the map won't admit it. A tripped-over chord drifts up from Cal Aguilas, some overzealous busker mangling Despacito again. The final fold, always the trickster. Paper buckles, where 17th century sewer tunnels snake beneath modern coffee shops. Your thumb discovers a hairline tear, now disguised as the Rio Tagus on purpose. Restoration is part confession, part forgery. You blow away eraser debris. It snows over Portugal. Lantern oil dwindles. The flame's last act paints your knuckles gold. Across the room, your abandoned coffee mocks with a half-moon stain. Caffeine versus creases, the eternal rematch. Tomorrow's tourists will trample these streets none the wiser, their sneakers scuffing the labyrinth you've just tucked away. For now, the map sleeps, a geometric lullaby in your hands, and somewhere, an orange prepares to fall. Footsteps dissolve into Seville's bloodstream. The Plaza Mayor exhales as tourists retreat. Your window frame cuts the square into quadrants, each a puzzle resisting symmetry. Those cobblestones, Roman backs bent eternally, every uneven paver a legionnaire's bad, knee fossilized. Archaeologists found 17 Visigoth gold coins under this plaza in 1987, stuffed in a goat bladder like some ancient loot bag. Historians still argue whether the stones tilt randomly or follow constellations lost to modern astronomy. Your creases align with their chaos, cartographic improv over rigid geometry. Midnight oil smudges the Alcázar's outline. Your pinky smears Grenada by accident. No takebacks now. The map accepts imperfections better than historians accept new theories. That zigzag near Cal Sirps. Blame the tremor in your wrist or the 3 cortados buzzing in your veins. You trace the Mercado's silhouette. Its iron skeleton creaks, even on paper. Someone's selling overripe figs 2 streets over, sweetness mingling with the ink's metallic tang. A moth dive bombs your lamp. Its shadow becomes a momentary Moorish warship on the parchment. You flick it away gently, heresy, to swat something shaped like history. The plaza's central fountain gurgles a protest. Its basin holds 8 tons of rainwater and 7 centuries of wishful coins. Last Tuesday's rain added a layer of Nissan Micra, exhaust progress in liquid form. Your thumbnail presses harder where the map's Guadalquivir refuses to lie flat. Rebel River, mirroring its real-world twin. 3 quick folds create valleys. Your knuckles whiten like Giralda Tower at dawn. There's a rhythm here. Crinkle, smooth, repeat, the same cadence as the handkerchief vendors used during Holy Week processions. You're pretty sure one crease just bisected a phantom flamenco venue from the 1920s. No matter, ghosts appreciate a good origami shrine. The window rattles, a breeze smuggling hints of tomorrow's fried churro oil into tonight's ritual. 11 pigeons roost on your ledge, feathers puffing like mini bellows. Their synchronized head tilts mock your attempt at precision. You mimic them, craning to see the map from a pigeon's eye view. Everything shrinks except the cathedral. Its grandeur persists even at 1/5,000 scale. A drip of wax escapes the lantern. Emerging Portugal gains an accidental mountain range. Let future explorers blame tectonic shifts. Palma del Rio Street resists its kink, resembles a cursive. Written mid-stumble, you flatten it with a book bound in 19th century leather, the ethics of repurposed ledgers being another conversation. Somewhere beneath that crease lies a tavern where Cervantes definitely didn't write Don Quixote, but might have napped. Your earlobe tingles. That's either ancestral intuition or sleep deprivation masquerading as wisdom. The final corner teases, lifting like a matador's cape. You pin it with a Murano glass paperweight from the '68 Expo. Blue swirls mimic the Guadalquivir's evening current, if rivers flowed in blown glass. Last week's laundry receipt becomes a temporary seam guard. Adulting and cartography share a reliance on improvisation. When the paper sighs into alignment, it sounds suspiciously like your downstairs neighbor's asthmatic pug. Dawn lingers an hour off, plenty of time to mistake street lamp glow for moonlight. Your folded map fits snug in its cedar box, lined with 1970s bus tickets instead of velvet. Let archivists centuries hence ponder your choices. The plaza's stones hum below, their vibrations traveling up walls into the soles of your boots. You pocket the key, wondering which crease holds tomorrow's accidental path. Outside, a lone guitarist tests a discordant chord, the city tuning itself for whatever comes after folding. The guitarist's discordant note lingers, your thumb rubs a smudged street name until ink pools like liquid nostalgia. Childhood roots bleed through the map's crisp lines, softening into summer evenings, chasing churro carts. 17 steps from your old balcony to the Guadalquivir's edge. You counted them daily before the flood of 1961 reshaped the banks. Historians still argue whether Roman traders navigated this river using dolphin-shaped brass compasses or pure spite. Your nail traces the waterway's curve. It shimmers despite the faded ink. That blue, rumor claims 19th century mapmakers mixed crushed malachite with orange blossom water, a recipe stolen from a jailed perfumer. A grease stain from long-dead Abuelita's tortilla shop obscures Calajon del Agua. You don't mind. Some absences deserve their monuments. The alley's ghost appears anyway, echoes of jump rope, chants syncopated with your folding rhythm. Your wrist hesitates where the paper wrinkles, exactly where you skinned your knee fleeing imaginary Moors at age 9. Coincidence cartography hits different at 3 a.m. moonlight resuscitates forgotten marginalia, tiny ships doodled in what looks like red wine. Could be blood. Definitely not your finest hour. Those medieval Barcelona mapmakers used dried cochineal beetles for crimson accents. A fun fact that ruins museum visits. You press harder, hoping to emboss the page with that one August when the river froze. It lasted 17 minutes. You lasted 17 utterances of "I told you so" to your disbelieving uncle. The map's cathedral district grows translucent. Your childhood chalk drawings of two-headed pigeons visible beneath printed spires. Archaeologists found 600 rabbit bones under Plaza del Triunfo, last decade proof of either a grand feast or a very dedicated puppet show. Your finger hovers over the site. Some secrets should stay buried, like that summer you borrowed a tourist's metal detector. Ink bleeds across the Guadalquivir's banks, merging your 5th grade flood diorama with documented 17th century tidal charts. That stubborn puddle by the tobacco factory. Turns out it's always been there. You fold the river diagonally, a technique borrowed from silk fan artisans who doubled as 1920s spy messengers. The paper resists, so did the spies. A coffee ring from 2 nights ago frames your first kiss location, now a Zara home. You outline the stain with a faux gold pen bought from a street vendor who swore it contained real pharaoh particles. Historians may never confirm if Andalusian cartographers used actual gold in their inks, but your cheat survives examination, unlike that Zara's linen section. Twilight leaks through. The map becomes a parchment, Lazarus. Each fold resurrects smells, melted crayons, diesel rain puddles, Abuelo's cedar humidor. Your creases grow tender where the paper remembers touch. That's either myth or physics. Tonight, you'll take either. A dust mote lands on the Roman aqueduct's outline, becoming a miniature tourist. You grant it mercy by not sneezing. When the Guadalquivir's ink finally dries, it leaves your palm stained cobalt, a temporary tattoo matching the river's morning glint. The map sighs closed, trapping a 1978 bus ticket inside as a bookmark for memories. Downstairs, the bakery's first batch of empanadas releases steam, or maybe it's the ghosts of your breakfasts past. You press the creased river to your ear. Some say flowing ink mimics water tonight. It whispers nursery rhymes in a Sevillian accent. Dawn's first tourist buses belch near Torre del Oro, their headlights briefly setting the map's silver accents aflame. You rub the paper's edge until warm, same as comforting a fevered childhood forehead. 5 stray dog barks echo from the document, a cartographic Easter egg from that mange-ridden summer. The Guadalquivir curls tighter in response, a blue thread ready to unravel again at twilight. Your palms press flat against the parchment, ridges matching 16th century engraving tools still scorched into your skin from that Madrid museum incident. History's funny. Those old map makers used leather knee pads while charting colonies. Now you're hunched over IKEA-treated oak. A paper cut stings where the Guadalquivir forks, blood blooming like Moorish sigils on silk battle maps. Coincidence? Sevilla's archives mention a 1583 cartographer who inked rivers with his own hemoglobin, claiming tides flowed truer that way. Historians still argue whether his Catalina-class galleon sank due to poor navigation, or his widow's alleged arsenic habit. You fold clockwise, mimicking sundial shadows from the Alcázar gardens. Each crease deposits millimeter-thin dust, 3 parts Sahara sand, 1 part erased street musician's breath. 10 fingers, 93 visible scars. Your personal topography eclipses the maps. That jagged line near your thumb, same curve as the Seville Cathedral's shadow at high noon. The church's original architects used prisoner labor, their shackle grooves still ghosting the stone floors. Your nail digs into parchment, gouging a canal where your first goldfish got flushed. History repeats with better plumbing. Midnight's humidity softens the paper, you work faster. 17th century nautical charts required whale fat as a preservative, a fact that ruins the romance of antique shops. Your own preservation method involves espresso drips and existential dread. The map's northwest corner sticks, a dried orange blossom petal fused to Cadiz Road. Could have been there since your aunt's ill-fated vow to literally become one with the atlas. The family still avoids opening her attic trunk. Your wrist pivots, a motion copied from YouTube tutorials on origami cranes. Ancient cartographers had nicer pens. Worse hemorrhoids, a wrinkle forms, its angle matching the scar across Queen Isabella's favorite scribe's collarbone. Chroniclers claimed he nicked himself sharpening quills. Forensic analysis of his bones suggests swordplay. You adjust the fold, sealing the lie back into history's margins. 3 a.m. coughs shake the room. Your breath flutters the map's tiny drawing of La Giralda. Some claim the tower's original minaret contained mercury to reflect invaders' sails. You've seen the receipts for donkey feed and limestone. More likely, the architects just liked shiny things. Your reflection warps in a leftover puddle of tonic water, eyes matching the ink's exhaustion. Centuries of sleep deprivation passed through sheepskin vellum to your 40-watt bulb. Inheritance sucks. The cathedral's ink resists folding stubborn as the cardinal who banned secular maps from its shadow in 1704. You lick your fingertip. Heresy never tasted so much like accidental toner residue. A street lamp flickers, transforming your hunched silhouette into something from Goya's sketchbooks. At least you're not using frog's blood as fixative progress, right? Cal Sirp's zigzag unfolds itself twice, typical for a street named after a mythical serpent. Your pinky traces its spine, same path you took fleeing the '98 World Cup riots, clutching stolen pan de higo. Archaeologists recently found 17 Roman-era dice, under a tapas bar's foundation, loaded ones, naturally. Sometimes the map shows things better left unexcavated. You hum a buliria rhythm, fingers drumming folds into existence. The paper sighs, releasing a scent of long-dead librarians' rosewater cologne. Civilian pressing techniques required 40 pounds of force per square inch your palms clock in at desperate and undercaffeinated. A moth lands on Puerto de Jerez, its wings mapping fault lines through your ink-stained afterglow. Let it stay. Every document needs living footnotes. Dawn's first glow threatens the eastern edge. You shield the map with yesterday's utility bill. Carthaginian traders used polarized obsidian to read sea charts under harsh light. Modern solutions involve EC ink printing and tax services. The river's border bleeds again, this time mimicking your unspoken anxiety about the 7:15 tram's schedule. 37 folds completed, each pleat bedding against the sun. Your thumbnail catches on a hidden ridge, launching a paper shard toward oblivion. Orienteering manuals from the age of exploration recommended carrying squirrel gut sutures for map-related injuries. You settle for a Band-Aid from 2017. Its adhesive, whispering, passive-aggressive Catalan. 3 drops of blood join the Guadalquivir's tributaries, your DNA, now part of the legend. The final crease aligns hands overlapping with those of every map fumbler since Ptolemy's interns. Madrid's National Library keeps gloves for handling fragile manuscripts. They'd faint seeing your honey-stained fingerprints mummifying this relic. Let them clutch their pearls. Your smudges contain multitudes. Coffee rings from 3 apartments ago. A fleck of that lavender gelato from the Triana bridge incident. The ghost of a post-it reminding you to buy toilet paper. Wind sneaks through the balcony's crack, fluttering the map like a dying monarch's pulse. You pin it with a Mont Blanc knockoff and half a pack of gum. Francisco de Herrera's 1579 guidebook advised weighing charts down with stones of pure heart. You're fresh out. Sunrise hits the Alcázar's plotted coordinates, the paper warming like skin. Historians can keep their archives. You folded time into something that fits between sofa cushions. Silence settles if you listen close. The parchment thrums with 10,000 shuffled footsteps. Your hands go still. Maps best preserve what they ignore. That's the real secret under all these layers. The room exhales. You almost miss the soft click of centuries locking into place. The crease resists. A phantom bridge arches under your thumb. Historians mapped Sevilla's Roman aqueducts, but left the shadow alleys uncharted, those dead ends where shoeshine boys once traded gossip for marzipan. Your nail catches on a frayed street, labeled Calajon del Air, a lane so narrow lovers had to turn sideways to kiss. Archaeologists found 700 pairs of rusted scissors buried beneath its cobblestones. No one's brave enough to theorize why. You press harder, paper fibers grown like old ship timbers. That bridge doodled in the margin. It matches a local legend about stonemasons who built a span over dry land just to prove they could. Their names dissolved into mortar dust centuries ago. Now your fingerprints overwrite theirs. Gentleman's bet. Who'll be forgotten faster? A moth-eaten patch near the river reveals ghost text. Here be the Duke's mistress's garden. 1623. Modern maps show a parking garage. You fold the page, tucking romantic folly under concrete reality. Historians still argue whether the Duke planted apricot trees or just enjoyed assigning sexy names to patches of weeds. Your elbow nudges the lamp. Suddenly your nose twink with Puente de las Mentiras. Locals claim its stones absorb lies. Step on the third cobble, and your darkest secret becomes sidewalk chalk art. You trace its curve, same arc your ex's eyebrow made when you said I'll text you. The bridge remains relationships, less structurally sound. A coffee ring engulfs Plaza de la Memoria Perdida. 17th century notaries documented a miracle here. Rain fell upward one Tuesday, drenching pigeons mid-flight. You blot the stain. Miracles can't compete with Colombian dark roast. The square's central fountain once sprayed wine during festivals. Nuns filed complaints about tipsy gargoyles. 3 quick folds, an alley disappears. Urban legends say this is where flamenco singers dueled with verse instead of knives. The winning insult, your rhythm flat as a nun's souffle, still echoes if you press your ear to the right wall. You opt for silence and a well-timed eye roll. The map shivers, ink bleeding, where the old Jewish quarter's boundaries got redrawn 6 times. You smooth it, your palm warmer than any inquisitor's torch. Secret synagogue entrances hide behind illustrated flower stalls. Follow the lavender stems, pointing due east. Real lavender, not the plastic kind sold to cruise ship tourists. Midnight bells tarnish the air. You refold a smuggler's tunnel that once moved sherry barrels, and allegedly a disassembled giraffe for Charles V's menagerie. Modern scholars insist it was a zebra, history's greatest game of telephone. Your crease sharpens, zebra stripes align with subway routes dug 4 centuries later. Coincidence? Ask the giraffe ghost. A prickle climbs your spine. The map's edge curls like a burnt document. 1808's resistance fighters used tavern menus as coded battle plans. Today's tapas bars just overcharge for jamon. You flatten the corner, burying revolutionary paella recipes under a supermarket coupon. Some sacrifices preserve neighborhood charm. Dampness seeps through the page. Or is that the Guadalquivir weeping for its stolen tributaries? You fold faster, forming dikes with your determination. 17 children drowned here in 1591, chasing a golden tambourine myth. Their names survive in baptism records, and your sudden need to blink. The final pleat swallows a staircase, leading nowhere. Architect's revenge against a client who demanded more spiral. Your thumb lingers. Stone remembers every scuffed boot heel, every dragged suitcase, every runaway's trembling ascent. Paper forgets faster. Dawn leaks through the blinds. You tuck the last ghost road into the map's marrow. Urban planners call this erasing blight. You call it mercy. Streets deserve dignified endings, not slow deaths by Google Maps updates. Outside, a scooter backfires. 16 pigeons lift off in a shape, matching the creases. Cities always whisper their secrets twice. The map thickens where legends congeal. Your thumb brushes a ridge thicker than other creases, like scar tissue over olden battle wounds. Sun-bleached ink labels this patch El Esperon, the grindstone. Historians agree Spanish kings commissioned this district to flaunt wealth. But vagabonds still whisper about the Moorish well buried beneath its plaza. Your nail digs into the paper. Does it scrape mosque marble or Christian limestone? Layers cling like gossip. A coffee stain blooms near the Alcázar Gardens. 1526 is grandest party spot. Charles V hosted rumored trysts here between imperial decrees, and also a live rhinoceros that trampled 3 fountains. Modern walking tour skip that detail. You crease the stain, caffeine as preservative for dead revelries. Archaeologists found 14 love poems etched into garden benches, all addressed to the Duke with the amber beard. His tombstone, blank as a tax form. That smudged tower labeled Torre del Disengano. Workers laid its stones night for day during the Inquisition, afraid sunlight might reveal secret Judaic symbols in the mortar. Your finger follows its silhouette, chilled despite centuries of Spanish sun. Urban explorers swear the tower hums when moonlit, though that could just be the malfunctioning cell tower bolted to its side in 2003. You press a crease along the riverbank. Invisible seams split. There's where Roman engineers diverted the Guadalquivir to spite a rival architect. The backlash flooded 6 temples, 2 brothels, and a surprisingly popular lettuce farm. Historians still argue whether the engineer got executed or promoted. You mute the drama, flattening the page until parchment silences echo. A fleck of gilt catches your eye, the map's sole gilded street, Cal del Sussurro. Golden ink was reserved for royal processions, but this alley's narrow as a dagger wound. Court documents reveal a seamstress bribed the cartographer to gild her doorstep, just to spite her hat-making ex-lover. You snort. History's pettiness outlives its monuments. Sweat warps the corner near a sketched olive grove. 1492's expulsion order got read here, boots trampling fallen fruit into bitter paste. Fold this now, and the crease aligns with a modern bike lane's curve. Progress loves straight lines until it needs to swerve. 3 rapid folds. The outline shreds a market square famed for silk merchants. They dunk fabric in the river to add water weight, then charge extra for the exclusive damp finish. You smirk, ancestor of shrinkflation. Tonight, the river exacts revenge, dampening your cuffs as if mourning its old accomplices. The ink flares crimson where a fortress once anchored the city's west flank. Moors and Christians fought 14 sieges here, then picnicked together during truces. Excavators unearthed goat bones and a chess piece, Black Queen, lodged in a crusader's ribcage. You don't touch that spot. Let bloodstains keep their mysteries. A hairline tier splits Plaza de los Descalzos. Barefoot monks frequented this spot, their souls black with sacred grime. Apply pressure here, and the paper releases a scent, burnt parchment. No, rosemary from the monastery garden, raised in 1810. Your lungs tighten, memories, always a borrowed breath. A prickle crawls your neck. The map's edge quivers like a plucked lute string. 80 rebels hid in a bakery here during Napoleon's occupation, surviving on stolen macarons and rage, their manifestos buried under a Zara now. You reinforce the crease. Some rebellions deserve sturdier coffins. Midnight yawns against the window. Your thumbnail traces a bridge medieval scribes called El Puente de los Suspiros, Aginos, bridge of other size. Couples would whisper confessions meant for estranged lovers, letting the river carry apologies downstream. Modern engineers say its arches defy gravity. You say broken hearts have better structural integrity. Dawn's first rivulet stains the horizon. You make the final fold. Seville's oldest tavern crumples into the center. Its cellar holds a cask from 1415, still unopened, still waiting for a wedding that got canceled due to plague. The map hardens in your grip, a fossilized city, its pulse slow but persistent. Moonlight slants through the window. Its glow turns parchment into a ghost of itself. Your pencil hovers where Seville's edge dissolves into blankness, until you sketch a constellation above the Rio Guadalquivir. Spanish navigators once sailed by these stars, their ships weighed down with Aztec silver and sheer audacity. Your star connects to nothing. Historians still argue whether they actually used the night sky or just got drunk on bravado and luck. The street lamp outside blinks. Its light aligns with your drawn Beetlejuice. Odd coincidence. Or proof cities copy celestial blueprints. Architects deny it. But you've seen Toledo's lay out mirror Orion's belt during monsoon floods. A breeze riffles the page. Your map becomes a flipbook of shadow puppets. Cal del Cielo winks up at you, its cobblestones supposedly laid to match Cassiopeia's sprawl. Tour guides claim it's a stellar accident. Locals know better. In 1620, a paranoid astronomer bribed masons to rebuild the street after his mistress left him for a sailmaker. You trace its curve, love letters disguised as urban planning. A thud startles you. The neighbor's cat bats at your window, its pupils wide as compass needles. You fold a corner into a makeshift mouse. The cat yawns. Even felines here scoff at amateur cartography. Your graphite smudges while labeling Ursa Minor. The Great Bear becomes a Rorschach blot. Freud would have charged extra for that. Beneath the smear, something glimmers, tiny stars drawn in silver flecks, invisible until moonlight hits. Renaissance mapmakers often hid celestial codes for rivals, or maybe just doodled during boring. The street lamp buzzes, a modern star gone nova. You squint. There where your sketched Draco overlaps Calijan de los Bissos, teenagers flock there to kiss under false constellations, same as their great-great-grandparents did. Histories, a broken record with better acoustics. A truck backfires. Your elbow jolts. The pencil-carved Saturns rings through the cathedral district. Good, those Gothic spires could use a disco makeover. The ink bleeds slightly, merging with a coffee ring from 3 nights ago. Instant galaxy. Your knuckle brushes a constellation named La Silla del Diablo. Folk tales claim this star pattern locks demons in chairs if you whisper their names backward during Lent. Meteorologists blame light pollution for its fading. You hum a nursery rhyme just in case. The cat returns, this time trailing a moth. Wings flit across your map, living confetti. For 6 seconds, Seville has a new asterism, La Palilla Obstinata. You add it in smudged pencil. Future scholars will question your sanity or nominate you for a Nobel. Moonlight seeps into the paper fibers. Old ink stirs like sleepwalkers. Your fingertip follows the Guadalquivir's curve, lands on a star-mapped wharf where Columbus docked after his 3rd voyage. Records say he brought pineapples. Gossip insists he smuggled a parrot that insulted the bishop's hat. You crease the page, preserving both truths. A siren wails nearby. Your stars tremble. The map's compass rose wilts, petals curling into fists. Urban life disrupts even paper cosmos. You redraw Polaris, pressing until the pencil lead snaps. Navigation's harder when your tools keep surrendering. The cat leaps onto the sill, its tail flicks your coffee cup. Liquid arcs, lands precisely on a cluster of invented stars. Espresso nebula. You're either a genius or sleep-deprived. Pork no lows dues. Midnight's chill seeps in. You tug your collar up. The motion folds Sagittarius into a paper dart. Through the window, real stars pulse above Seville, indifferent as ever. Your map mirrors their distance. Damp air softens the parchment, edges curl like olden scrolls. You press flat a corner with your elbow, accidentally creating a black hole where the fish market should be. Fitting. Those squid vendors always did operate in voids. The street lamp dies suddenly. Only moonlight remains your pencil, now a wand. Across the river, the Torre del Oro glints. Its namesake gold faded centuries ago, but starlight gives cheap facelifts. You shade its outline, blending myth and masonry. Dawns a rumor far east. Your star charting falters. Some truths need darkness. The map, half celestial, half cockeyed, demands surrender. You fold it once more, sewing night into the creases. Your fingers glide over parchment that's frayed like raw silk edges. Seville's mercers once sold fabric so fine. They measured it with eyelashes. Nomadic traders carried these textiles from Chang'an camels swaying under indigo-dyed bales. Historians still argue whether Andalusia's silk trade collapsed from Venetian competition or because local nobles preferred showing off muscles in tight wool. The map resists folding. Its creases mimic threadbare velvet. You press harder. Imagine merchants haggling over damask where parking meters stand today. Their ghosts would have hated the subway. A 17th century ledger mentions silkworms escaping a convent. Nuns chased them through Holy Week processions, veils fluttering. You snort. Saints make terrible pest control. Rain taps the window, rhythm matching laundry beaters from the Triana quarter. Your thumb finds a watermark shaped like a moth-eaten shawl. Perfect. In 1583, a smuggler stitched contraband silk into donkeys' saddlebags until the animals developed a taste for expensive fabric. The legal battle lasted longer than the king's marriage. You tug a corner. The map tears slightly near Cal Sastreria. Tailors once whispered secrets into garment folds here. Their needles pricked coded messages for spies. Or so drunk haberdashers claim at 2 a.m. The rip becomes a canyon, then a stitching guide. Crisis averted. Dampness warps the paper. It buckles like sun-faded brocade. You iron it flat with your palm. 600 years ago, this motion smoothed wrinkles from Persian rugs for the Duke of Medina Sidonia. His tufted throne allegedly gave him hives. Easy to romanticize, harder to explain at CVS Pharmacy. Lightning flashes, your shadow becomes a looming mercantile guild enforcer. Thunder rumbles, time to borrow history's hush. 3 generations of the Mendoza family traded silk here until someone substituted cheaper linen on a royal order. The resulting scandal involved a parrot, a poisoned flan, and a very confused archbishop. Your pinky brushes a coffee stain, now mimicking a silk moth's wing. Renaissance dandies pinned these insects to their hats as good luck charms. Entomology meets fashion, meets pure idiocy. A breeze sneaks in carrying the scent of wet umbrellas and long-dead lavender sachets. The map's edge curls. You wait it with a thimble from your junk drawer. 16th century seamstresses hid poison in similar vessels or stored cinnamon. Depends which conspiracy theory you're peddling. Your thimbles from IKEA. Some traditions deserve extinction. Across the street, a boutique's mannequin wears artisanal scarves. You gag internally. Authentic mudejar silk patterns require 12 dye baths, not Instagram filters. Your great aunt's crochet doily could outclass that polyester garbage. Blasphemy comes cheap these days. A truck backfires, its echo bounces off the Alcázar walls. Same sound once announced silk-laden galleys entering port. Sailors sang off-key shanties about silkworms eloping with cotton bowls. Occupational hazards of rum rations. You hum a few bars. The melody dissolves into traffic noise. 3 folds left. Your nail traces a route once trod by silk inspectors, their seals pressing patterns into wax and lies into ledgers. One underpaid clerk's doodle in 1612 became Seville's official coat of arms. Bureaucratic accidents shape cities more than kings. The paper softens, aging centuries in 30 seconds. You unwittingly reenact the Triana flip, a 19th century gambit where merchants hid inferior silk between flawless layers. Too bad your version exposes a coffee ring instead of contraband. Moonlight hits a watermark. Your map reveals a hidden lilac hue, cultivated exclusively for Queen Isabella's nightgowns, until she realized it clashed with her rosacea. The secret fields were burned. Talk about floral drama. Dawn threatens, you accelerate. Fingertips skim the surface. Silk would have whispered, but parchment rasps. Threads of your sweater catch on an ink smudge. Snags happen to fabric and fate. Outside, delivery trucks replace mule trains. Progress smells like diesel and eucalyptus gum. One final crease seals it. The map rests temporary as a merchant's promise. Its folded layers hold more ghosts than a hashtag. You exhale, threading memories into seams only tomorrow will unpick. The paper resists, a stubbornness learned from Seville's very soil. Your fingernail whitens pressing the crease. Alcázar's roots stretch deep beneath your apartment, tangling with Visigoth bones. Half moonlight glares through your blinds. 16th century stonemasons carved lunar phases into the palace walls. Some say they were Moorish love notes. Others insist it's a plumbing schematic. You side with the romantics. Plumbing's rarely that poetic. A soft rip whispers through the room, the sound of centuries-old rag paper sighing. In 1248, Ferdinand III used stolen mosque tiles to line his bathtub. Historians still argue whether it was cultural appropriation or a baller power move. Your knees pop as you lean into the fold. Royalty never deals with creaky joints. The map's corner snags. Red ink bleeds like pomegranate molasses. You remember the Alcázar's hidden fountain, its basin etched with constellations. Palace guides claim it only drips during total eclipses. Local teens swear it's a soda machine malfunction. One damp corner sticks to your wrist, now branded with half the Jewish quarter. Outside, a stray cat yowls, inheritor of alleyways once patrolled by plague dogs. Your thumbs press downward. Imagine flattening the rebellion of 1649, when silk weavers stormed the Alcázar. They left no demands, just a single velvet glove on the throne. Current theory: performance art meets labor dispute. You've seen worse at open mic nights. 3 slow breaths, the paper surrenders its arch. Moorish architects designed palaces to mirror paradise, but included secret doors for mistresses and wine deliveries. The ultimate work-life balance. Your crease aligns perfectly, a satisfying click in the spine. If paradise has filing cabinets, this is their whisper. A truck's headlight sweeps the wall ghostly as the lanterns that guided night watchmen. Those guards got extra pay for lion deterrence, though no lions existed in 15th century Seville. Scam artists, the original side hustlers. Your pinky brushes a coffee stain shaped like Portugal tempting, but you refold loyalty toward Spain. Dampness warps the southern edge, nature's sabotage. Queen Isabella once banished a mapmaker for misplacing the Canary Islands. His defense: Your Majesty needs better glasses. Bold, if you enjoy living in a dungeon. You smooth the wrinkle history doesn't record what happened to his thumbs. The clock ticks like a metronome for paranoia. In 1701, spies hid coded maps inside guitar sound holes. Flamenco players still smirk at certain chord progressions. Your wristwatch vibrates. It's just a calendar alert. No one's composing operas about your Google reminders. Moonlight catches a watermark, the faded crest of the House of Enriquez. Their heraldic motto: steer into the storm. Also, a terrible navigational strategy. You commit heresy, folding their legacy into a tight right angle. Some ancestors deserve origami jail. Your knuckle cracks against the table, a percussion fitting for medieval tax collectors. They measured olive oil harvests by listening to amphory clink. You measure progress by the ache between your shoulders. Maybe both are valid metrics. A moth kamikazes into your lamp, its wings dusted with microscopic brick powder. Alcázar's restorers mix ancient mortar with insect casings. Sustainability, or an excuse to avoid Home Depot. You usher the moth outside. Allegiances shift at 2 a.m. The final fold looms, paper pleats tighter than a nun's wimple. In 1602, a disgruntled seminarian mapped every brothel in Seville with saints' names as code. The archbishop burned the copies, then requested a personal edition. Hypocrisy greases all hinges. Your palms grow damp, centuries of cartographers nod in sweaty solidarity. Sailors used to navigate by the taste of sea spray. You navigate by the sour tang of overbrewed tea. Progress tastes like Lipton. Streetlights buzz, an electric choir drowning out the stars. A 13th century astronomer plotted constellations from the Alcázar's rooftop. He quit after mistaking a drunkard's lantern for Venus. You've made worse misjudgments. Last Tuesday springs to mind. The crease sharpens, paper fibers snap like tiny rebellions. Moorish poets wrote verses about paper's patience. They never had to file tax returns. You exhale. The map lies flat at last. Its silence throbs louder than cathedral bells at dawn. Gothic shadows gouge the paper, your atlas transformed into a cathedral's skeletal blueprint. The Giralda's spire pierces your thumbprint, its miniature twin towers over the Guadalquivir's inked curl. Historians know the real tower absorbed a 12th century minaret, but few mention the laborers who embedded camel bones in its mortar. You press harder. Paper ridges mimic flying buttresses digging into your palm. A street lamp flickers electricity, doing its best candlelight cosplay. 14,000 laborers built this monstrosity, or 84 records disagree, due to a scribe's wine spill in 1506. Your pinky smudges St. Christopher's face, his form warped by a coffee ring halo. Patron saint of travelers deserves better PR. The southwest tower lists slightly a tilt born from 15th century hubris. Architects promised glory, miscalculated the sherry shipment's weight in the cornerstone. You correct the lean with a strategic fold. Paper groans like Hernan Ruiz, spinning in his tomb. Ink bleeds where your sweat meets parchment. Gothic arches bloom into Rorschach blots. Night guards once scrubbed heresy from cathedral walls. Now pigeons critique your creases. A draft swirls carrying whispers of the hidden ladder behind the altarpiece. Teenage sextons still dare each other to touch its rusted rungs. Your thumbnail catches on a gargoyle's grin, its jaws wide enough to swallow tour group complaints. Restorers found 17th century love notes wedged in their mouths last year, and 7 ounces of smuggled gold leaf. You carve a deeper crease, fold a judgment for both sins and souvenirs. Moonlight etches the rose window across your forearm, stained glass patterns reduced to prison bar shadows. The original blue pigment came from Afghanistan lappies via a detour through a bribed customs officer's saddlebags. Your pen taps the margin. A mosquito dies mid-bite, its corpse dotting the Moorish quarter. Linen fibers rebel, fighting your attempt to flatten the choir stalls. In 1601, a choir boy hid a roast chicken in the organ pipes, blamed the stench on unholy harmonics. Your stomach growls solidarity with medieval foodies. The paper buckles, resistant as a bishop during taxes season. 3 rapid folds, triangular aggression to match the cathedral's original construction permit. Scholars found a doodle of chase scene in the margins, complete with comically oversized horses. You add your own stick figure, flipping off the Alcázar. Political satire thrives in secret creases. A motorcycle backfires. Its echo bounces off the paper facade. The cathedral's bells were melted down twice, once for cannonballs, once for counterfeit doubloons. Survival trumps sanctity. Your scissors gleam, tempting to cut confession booths into origami swans. The map's north transept wrinkles, a victim of your iced tea condensation. Workers once drank water strained through limestone dust, believing it prevented stone madness. You lick your lips, tastes like poor life choices and Arizona heat. Your elbow jostles a compass, its needle spins toward the sacristia mayor. Treasure hunters still probe its floors for Columbus's lost pearls, the real loots in the archive. A love letter to Ferdinand from his horse groom. Prioritize gossip over gold. Midnight hums through the paper's pores, a vibration felt by Inquisition scribes copying heresies. They chewed light-based ink, hallucinated angels in the margins. You rub your eyes. The apostles now resemble your unshaven landlord. Revelations come in weird packages. A siren wails. Its pitch slices the Giralda's silhouette into thirds. The tower's bronze weather vane survived a lightning strike in 1884 because God enjoys metaphor. You fold the lightning rod into a paper airplane. Let divinity sort it out. The last crease threatens mutiny. Parchment ridges sharper than Toledo steel. Guides claim you can balance an egg on the cathedral floor during equinoxes. Attempt it, and you'll buy a mop. You press down, patron saint of clumsy tourists. Avert your gaze. Dawn's first rays ignite the paper's edge, orange, as the flames that licked Columbus's tomb during renovations. Historians still argue whether the cathedral's stones blush pink at sunset, or it's just pollution. You know better. Cities shrink into maps, but never lose their tells. Cathedral folded, you tuck it where the heart would be if paper organs followed blueprints. Your fingerprints linger on the bell tower, a pilgrim's mark softer than centuries of footsteps. Time stamps you as temporary. The map whispers back, so was I. The Guadalquivir snarls under your palms, a rebellious ink serpent thrashing against paper banks. Your thumbnail traces its course. The same path Roman grain ships took to feed emperors' vanity banquets. 17 workers once drowned trying to straighten its curves. In 1626, their names survive in tax evasion records. You press harder. Riverbed creases mimic centuries of silt, building secret cities. Moisture warps the parchment, your breath fogging Andalusia's lifeline. Restoration crews found a 17th century prosthetic leg in its mud last spring oak peg, still clutching a silver coin. The map buckles your pinky, becomes a makeshift dam against paper rapids. Lantern light gilds the water's edge, a poor imitation of dawn on Arabic irrigation maps. Historians still argue whether the river shifted west in 1403 due to earthquakes, or a duke's losing bet with a court jester. You hum a tavern song, the one sailors used to time oar strokes, and watch ink currents still. 3 quick folds create temporary tributaries until the paper fights back. Moorish engineers once diverted this flow through 94 aqueducts, now reduced to your creases, weakening under humidity. A moth kamikazes into your eyelash, distraction, nearly capsizing your origami barge. You lick the river's mouth. Salt blooms from ancient tides, trapped in linen fibers. 1794 flood victims wrote final words on their shutters. Half became shopping lists. The map softens, tides ebbing under your tongue's persuasion. Your knuckle carves a dam where Ferdinand III's troops built their pontoon bridge in 1248. Modern engineers call it strategic genius. You call it drunk carpenters copying Visigoth scrolls by moonlight. The paper surrenders, banks aligning like repentant lovers. A car horn bleats outside. Its echo warps into a muezzin's call across centuries. The river once ran gold. Every Ramadan, wealthy Moors tossing dinars to prove God admired showmanship. You flick a crumpled corner, watch it sink like heavy piety. Moonlight exposes watermark constellations, Ptolemy's forgotten atlas bleeding through. Divers still search for the cursed bell tossed in by a nun in 1602. They keep finding Diet Coke cans instead. Your pen circles a whirlpool, doodling Garci Perez de Vargas. Beard into the foam, the paper shudders, remembering when conquistadors soaked its kin in mercury for treasure maps. Your wrist twists, folding poison into harmless oxbow lakes. 30 men went mad gilding Charles V's fleet. Their raving journals outsold Cervantes in Seville's back alleys. Streetlight glares off the river's final bend, your window reflecting Columbus's shadow as he boarded ship. The Ninas cook allegedly stole 6 spoons from a riverside tavern, left an IOU signed with a rat's footprint. You spit on your finger, smudge the theft into obscurity. Dawn's first rays hit the estuary, your map glowing like molten copper. Historians still argue whether the Guadalquivir's true source is mountain snowmelt or 300 years of merchant tears. You know better, rivers begin where we stop fighting them. Final crease set, the current tamed to a murmur. Your thumb rests where treasure galleons sank, pressing until barnacles bloom in pen marks. Water seeks level, paper seeks silence. You seek the next fold. Fingers brush the margin, paper prickling like stubble on a mercenary's chin. A charcoal priest glares up, his robes stained with real mulberry ink from Seville's last silk guild. You fold his frown into the crease. Spain's 1492 silk ban couldn't kill stubborn threads. Historians still argue whether the prohibition targeted Moorish weavers or hid Cardinal Mendoza's botched face tattoo of the Virgin Mary. A cloaked couple clings to the map's frayed corner. Their embrace mirrors frescoes in the Casa de Pilatos. Restorers found 14th century peanut shells in the mansion's walls. Snacks for star-crossed lovers evading chaperones. Your pinky nudges them toward safer folds. Romance deserves more than footnote obscurity. The baker's wife winks, her apron pockets bulging with contraband cinnamon. Moorish spice hoarders once buried sacks, so deep modern jackhammers sing clove and regret. You tuck her grin between cathedral folds. Some secrets rise better than sourdough. A dented helmet peers from the Carthage monastery's edge. Archaeologists pulled a crusader's skull from the Guadalquivir in 9, still clutching a love letter to a Cordoban nun. Your nail etches a tiny cross on his breastplate. Posthumous absolution beats 3-hour siesta logic. Wind hisses through your window, lifting the map's rebels like ash from the Triana kilns. Inquisition victims whispered messages into pottery. Before firing, their words baked into dinner plates for heretical place settings. You flatten the paper, trapping wayward sighs under an aspirin tin weight. The blacksmith's daughter scowls, her hammer raised against a margin stain. Workers restoring the Torre del Oro found a goat's rib engraved with taunts for Ferdinand III. Your knuckle softens her strike. Some defeats taste sweeter centuries later. 7 children huddle near the riverbank, their game of marbles glinting like lost doubloons. Ship manifests prove Spanish orphans stowed away to Cuba, trading alleyway rules for sugarcane empires. You curl the edge, sheltering their laughter from dockyard recruiters. A one-eyed nun grips rosary beads cut from Tunisian coral. Divers found identical beads off the coast last spring, tangled with a smartphone playing flamenco covers on loop. You crease her habit into a tiny hammock, anathema naps included. Your thumb smudges a vendor's coin purse. The leathers creak, echoing in Plaza de San Francisco's ghost market. 19th century patent offices rejected a moisture-proof parchment claim here, filed by a man who later became a famous bullfighting mime. The ink resists, commerce always does, until you fold greed into a paper swan. Moonlight leaks across a scribe's monocle, his quill poised to forge Habsburg bloodlines. Archivists discovered 6 identical birth certificates for Charles II, each contradicting the others in looping cursive. You blot his work with a thumbprint. Hereditary madness deserves creative editing. Gypsy guitarists fade under your wrists, shadow, their strings still humming with pre-Civil War codes. Franco's censors missed a rebel anthem hidden in a flamenco manual's fingering charts. The map curls, you smooth it, smuggling revolution into the center crease. Dawn licks the horizon, your window reflects both sunrise and gas lamps from 1883. Urban planners sketched Seville's first sewer system on tavern napkins, then lost them to a bet involving 2 absinthe bottles and a performing bear. You press the final fold, entombing progress where it belongs, in the gutter. Street sweepers rattle outside, their brooms scratching the same rhythm as the map's hidden ones. You pocket the paper ark, its cargo of exiled souls secure. Tomorrow's historians will call this creasing, but you know, every fold is rescue. The paper stiffens, fibers aligning like cathedral rafters, resisting gravity's sermon. You press harder, palm meeting parchment in a pact older than Charles V's tax reforms. Every monarch demanded vows. Yours hums through pulped mulberry leaves and crushed regrets. A faint buzz prickles your thumb. 18th century scribes mixed beeswax with ink to trap oath breakers' fingerprints. Too late for them. Your whorls sink deeper than the Guadalquivir silt. A monk's doodle quivers in the margin, his doodle of a 3-legged goat. Workmen restoring the Archivo de Indias found rodent nests lined with confession notes. Rodent teeth marks underscoring sins. Your fingernail smooths the goat's extra limb, heresy trimmed posthumously. Historians still argue whether medieval mapmakers hid gambling debts in mountain ranges or just sucked at drawing goats. The crease resists, age has its pride. Parchment from Ferdinand III's era could stop a dagger, or so the Triana tannery ads claimed. You exhale cinnamon, mom's trick for softening stubborn men and tougher paper. 11 seconds, 23. The fibers surrender with a sigh older than Seville's first bullring. Moisture blooms where your wrist meets the map, salt from skin or sea ghosts. Divers pulled a ceramic hand from the river last June. Its fingers curled around a vial of dried tears. You dab the damp spot, 21st century sweat, salting 13th century streets. The paper hisses. Or maybe that's just the librarian's espresso machine downstairs. 7 children materialize in the crease, same marble, gang from the docks. Their clay orbs glint like misplaced crown jewels. Maria Luisa parks gardeners still unearth playthings beneath magnolias. Tiny rebels against royal landscaping. You tuck the troop behind the Giralda's ink silhouette. Let them taunt tourists for another century. A nun's rosary beads rattle, this time carved from Seville's controversial meteorite of 1722. Parish records swear the rock sang Gregorian chants during Mass. Skeptics blame moldy communion wine. Your pinky mutes the crucifix. Fanaticism folds cleaner when muted. Moonlight bleeds through a smuggler's stubbled jawline, his grin carved by a sleep-deprived cartographer. Gold hoarders. Guild ledgers list facial hair maintenance as a business expense. Alongside bribes and parrot feed, you reshape his leer into a yawn. Eternal rest suits outlaws best. The baker's widow reappears, her cinnamon stash swapped for a surgeon's scalpel. Forensic archivists identified 7 Renaissance scalpels in a pastry oven last fall, still flaky. You redirect her blade, scoring the oath's final syllable into the leather desk blotter. Wind riffles the page like a croupier shuffling marked cards. Inquisition interrogators used creased papers to amplify whispers. Their confessions, origami birds with clipped wings. You trap the breeze mid-flutter, truths packed tight as tobacco in a conquistador's pouch. Dawn hovers, stained glass hues seeping through the map's thinnest patches. Your window fogs with the breath of 1,000 sleepless oathmakers. Restoration teams found lip prints on the Alcázar's oldest ledger, 47 kisses sealing promises to phantoms. You lean closer, lips brushing the 13th fold spine. The paper warms, or maybe that's just sleep deprivation's final joke. Somewhere beneath your elbow, a bullfighter's ghost applauds. Your elbow nudges a gearwork tremor. 7 brass springs recoil under the map's northwest quadrant. Renaissance horologists hid their failures here. Every misfit cog from Seville's doomed decimal hour clocks. The Giralda's shadow stretches across your wrist. Its famed bell tower began life as a Moorish minaret. Historians still argue whether its alignment with Venus was math or matrimony. Some queen's dowry paid in starlight. A paper tower crumbles under your thumb, ink, mortar dissolving. You rebuild it with spit and stubbornness. Same materials used for the real Alcázar's west wing. That drunk architect in 1624 claimed his blueprints were chewed by lunar termites. Nobody bought it, neither do you. The cathedral's sundial glares, its bronze gnomon bent during Napoleon's troops' lunch break. You straighten it with a thumbnail warping history for the 100th time tonight. Someone etched ANTON lies beneath the numerals, probably that jealous clockmaker from the Triana district. His rival's pendulum still swings in San Telmo, fueled by spite and stolen olive oil. Silence pools where clock chimes should ripple. Those mute bells had their tongues torn out during the yellow fever riots, or so the tourist pamphlets claim. Archivists found pillow stuffing in the belfry last June, goose feathers glued with century-old honey. You press a thumb to parchment, feeling vibrations from unrung hours. A horologist's ghost exhales across your knuckles. His breath smells of mercury and regret. They called him Policarpo, the unhinged. Slapped a sundial on Seville's first steam engine. The thing exploded at high noon, taking his eyebrows and 3 pigeons. You fold his legacy into a paper fan. Let the dead cool themselves. Moonlight fingers the map's open wounds, every torn edge, a curfew ignored. Workers demolishing the old chocolate factory hit a cache of pocket watches, their hands frozen at 2:17 a.m. Cafe regulars swear the building still hums Vienna waltzes at that hour. You're pretty sure it's just bad plumbing. Your pinky brushes a celestially inked horoscope. King Alfonso, the 10th court astrologer, drew it during a solar eclipse. Margin notes reveal he also predicted a cow would rule Cordoba. Technically true during the milkmaids' strike of 1293. You crease the prophecy vertically, dividing bovine majesty from mortal nonsense. A subversive tick-tock vibrates beneath the leather desk blotter. Underground clocksmiths once sold timepieces that ran backward, until the Inquisition declared reverse, aging officially heretical. Your nail traces a gear's serrated edge, feeling every confiscated minute. 3 moth-eaten numerals float in the map's watermark, XIII, IV, IX, or maybe just lint. Scholars spent decades decoding similar stains. Turned out to be a nun's spilled soup diary. You blot them anyway. Let the tenure-hungry keep their illusions. Dew warps the parchment, or is that tear residue? Restorers found salt crystals in Queen Isabella's flask. Turned out to be a servant's 30-year collection of sneeze particles. You wipe the dampness, smearing a cartographer's signature into oblivion. The crease accepts its fate, paper fibers yielding like tired sentries. Local lore claims folding a map 13 times lets you eavesdrop on Philip II's corpse, his royal bones still ranting about the Armada. You stop at 12. Nobody needs Habsburg guilt before sunrise. Your wristwatch face fogs, gears puddled beneath glass. Historians still argue whether Seville's first public clock was set wrong to cheat textile workers. or because the installer hated mornings, you shake it. The second hand staggers forward like a drunk conquistador. Cobblestones imprint your palms through vellum. Their rhythm sinks with the street sweeper's broom below. Time becomes topography here, every hill and valley measured in cigarette breaks. You iron flat a wrinkle, erasing someone's siesta from the municipal record. A gear tooth snags your cuticle vengeance for all the clocks you've ignored. You snap it off, souvenir for the pocket of tomorrow's regrets. Midnight oil stains blend with first light, the map's arteries hardening under dawn's inspection. Somewhere beneath your pinky, a sundial's shadow apologizes for its sharp tongue. Your lips meet cold parchment where the Plaza Mayor should be. Ink bleeds, bitter as quinine. They rebuilt the square 8 times after fires. 17th century builders used lemon juice as fire retardant. Didn't work. Your tongue finds the cartographer's joke, a tiny bull in the corner, frozen mid-charge toward an invisible cape. Stone dust clings to your eyelashes. That's not metaphor, real grit from the 1792 renovations. Workers smuggled in Roman column fragments. City officials pretended not to notice. You sneeze. 3 marble fragments dislodge. Historians still argue whether the plaza's asymmetrical arches were artistic choice or a stonemason's vengeance against his cheating wife. The ink stain spreads, a Rorschach blot only Spaniards could decode. Some see flamenco skirts. Others see foreclosure notices from the 2008 crash. You taste time and panic, same flavors as the Reconquista's last barbecue. Ignore the metaphor. Focus on the fold. Your thumbs meet at Ferdinand III's statue, its feet stained by pigeon loyalty. Crowned in 1248, died of a map-related hernia. Truly a hero for our times. The paper resists, typical Castilian stubbornness. You lick the crease, just like those medieval scribes licking tax documents. Salmonella never tasted so patriotic. Lightning scars hide in the vellum, reminders of the 1755 earthquake that shook coins from beggars' bowls. Modern architects call them character lines. The poor called them kindling. Your nail traces a fissure, follows it to a forgotten protest poster from 1936. Workers demanded shorter hours, got louder clocks instead. A breeze rolls dead jasmine through the window, post-mortem perfume from Maria de Padilla's gardens. Pedro, the cruel, kept her heart in a casket. Modern surgeons say it was just a pickled fig. You tuck the scent into the fold. Let future historians argue over floral forensics. Hairline fractures web the square's center, microscopic roads leading nowhere. Scholars spent years mapping them. Turns out they're cracks from Franco's microphones. You spit on the page, saliva fills dictator-made canyons. Democracy via osmosis. 3 drops of sherry seep from the Ayuntamiento's inked facade. The city council's wine cellar flooded during a particularly verbose debate about cork tariffs. You dab it with your sleeve. More politicians absorbed into the textile afterlife. The fold whispers a doner kebab recipe, holdover from the 1992 Expo's midnight vendors. Garlic sauce stains linger near the judicial palace. Judicial indeed. You crease decisively, sentencing expired tzatziki to oblivion. Your teeth skim the paper, unearthing the plaza's original name. Plaza de la Constitucion lasted 17 days in 1812, until an illiterate pastry chef cross-stitched the wrong banner. They let him keep the typo, first recorded instance of crowdsourced urban planning. Cobblestones hum beneath your palms. Same frequency as an abbess's prayer wheel seized in 1603. Carbon dating proved the wood came from Columbus's broom closet. Or maybe a brothel. You mute the vibrations by pressing harder. Blood blisters rise on your thumbs, twin monuments to civic stubbornness. The tourist board will call them authenticity stamps. You call them a workplace hazard. 4 more folds should do it. 3 if you cheat and use your elbow. A shadow passes through the map, not yours, too jaunty. Probably some dead mayor patrolling his domain. The 1987 parking law reforms still haunt these streets. Ghosts honking Citroens at phantom pedestrians. You fold faster. Urban planning exorcised 1 crease at a time. The ink transforms, Prussian blue shifting to gangrene yellow, popular shade during the 1800s cholera parties. Wealthy ladies drank turpentine cocktails, called it internal varnish for the soul. Your reflection in the window mimics their fashionable pallor. Static clings to the paper like Andalusian humidity. Those 17th century priests weren't wrong about parchment retaining memories. Just wrong about it being the devil's work. You smooth a wrinkle, accidentally accept a silent prayer from 1699. Your thumbnail carves valleys through ink mountains, modern borders reduced to paper cuts. Granada sighs. Seville shrugs. Cadiz winks like the smuggler's port it is. History isn't written by the victors. It's folded by the insomniacs. Final crease bisects a marble plaque no one reads. Here began the world's first bankruptcy, followed by Amerigo Vespucci's angry signature. You make the fold, burying bad credit beneath good intentions. The plaza sighs, its heartbeat slows beneath layers of linen paper. Stone becomes pulp time, fades to iron gall, midnight dissolves into printer's dye. Your lips part, leaving a half-moon of spit where revolutions once brewed. Street cleaners rattle their brooms below, sweeping up what your ritual couldn't contain. Your fingers brush a jagged line, cutting through the Triana market district. The mapmakers tremor, betraying midnight inspiration. Smugglers once dragged tobacco bales along Cal Sirp's 18th century. Customs logs show bribes paid in dried octopus. You press the crease. Paper pricks your palm like cactus needles. Historians still argue whether these roots were drawn with actual blood or just pomegranate wine gone rogue. The path rebels, veering left where your atlas says right. Some claim Ferdinand VII outlawed left turns during siesta hours. His edict still collects dust in the archives of defunct stupidity. Blue ink wells up same shade anarchists used to dye their pigeons surveillance-proof. You smudge it, disrupting aerial espionage circa 1923. A coffee ring stains the Garavilla's monastery, faint circles within circles, clandestine meetings brewed here, monks smuggling enlightenment texts inside hollow communion wafers. One marginalia note reads Voltaire tastes better with honey. Your nail chips the stain, unleashing centuries-old caffeine jitters into your cuticles. Sulfur whispers rise from the crease, devil's fingerprints, or just bad Spanish gunpowder. The Duke of Medina Sidonia stored explosives under his four-poster bed marriage therapy. 1588 edition. You flatten the page, crushing both rebellion and marital advice into the fibers. 3 stitches of red thread bind the path's end, surgical precision. Underground surgeons used these alleys during the Peninsular War. Amputated limbs fed the Guadalquivir's catfish population. You hesitate, realizing you're tracing a scar that outlived its wound. Heat pulses through the parchment, not yours. 1803. Tax records cite phantom kilns beneath the Alameda. Modern metal detectors still ping with ceramic ghosts. The shortcut convulses, trying to shake loose its secrets. You pin it with your elbow, same way bakers knead doubt into dough. A crow's feather quill mark pierces the university district. Professors once taught heresies using avian DNA, or maybe students just partook in really avant-garde falconry. The crease deepens, ink pools like contraband molasses. Wipe it quick before someone reinstates the Spanish Inquisition's stationary tax. Your breath fogs Ferdinand III's face, king now blurred into Rorschach test. Psych majors from U.S. exchange programs swear they see his crown forming the Pepsi logo. Fold diagonally, rebranding history, one corporate synergy at a time. The path's final twist smells of burnt almonds, cyanide, or marzipan. Franco's pastry chef doubled as an executioner, his soufflés reportedly deflated on command. You crease the paper shut, trapping both sugar and venom in symmetrical halves. When you smooth the rebellion, the page lies flatter than a flamenco dancer's pre-tour diet. But something lingers, a graphite aftertaste only anti-censorship radicals could name. Let future scholars debate whether freedom tastes like No. 2 pencils or just Andalusia's leaded olive oil. Street cleaners rattle their brooms 3 stories below, sweeping up tomorrow's shortcuts before they're even drawn. Lamplight gutters like a drunkard's promise, your last oil reservoir. Shadows writhe free, clawing up plaster walls into monstrous puppetry. 17th century Seville spent more on lantern oil than hospital beds, The Inquisition preferred sins illuminated. A drip escapes the reservoir lands where Cervantes once dropped his inkwell mid-sentence. Historians still argue whether he cursed or thanked the darkness for swallowing that draught. Your thumb smears the spill, now a Rorschach blot whispering dual truths. Left of the stain, it's just lamp grease. Right of it, a tiny map of Port's Columbus censored from his logs. The flame coughs, throwing silhouettes that shouldn't exist. One shadow hunchback hoards coins minted during Napoleon's 5-day reign. Another waves with 6 fingers. You blink. They still wave. Paper warps under the dying glow. Creases exhale decades of pressed secrets. Church ledgers claim they burned 12,000 heretical documents here in 1631. But locals swear smoke smells like lavender and regret. You press harder, extracting a confession from the fibers. The top layer splits, revealing a sketch of Isidore of Seville's lost library. Its shelves curve, forming a perfect Ouroboros. Midnight licks the windowsill. Your wick drowns in its own wax. 17 nuns once stood trial for smuggling starlight in thimble-sized jars. Their method remains follicular science's greatest mystery. You snap the reservoir shut too late. The final ember floats upward, a miniature hot air balloon fleeing captivity. It pops against the ceiling, ashes spelling Mercuro in poisonous cursive. Floorboards groan 3 octaves lower than gravity allows. This building's architect buried shuffled tarot decks. Beneath each support beam, structural integrity through chaos magic. Your elbow brushes a wall. It vibrates like a cello string. Plaster dust falls, Morse code translating to repent or possibly reptile. You choose not to check. The map convulses its folds, birthing valleys where shadows collect. Your fingernail traces a river labeled Lethe, but it's just the Guadalquivir after heavy rain. Historians still argue whether Spanish memory loss comes from mercury mining or strategic forgetting. A drop of sweat hits Seville Cathedral's illustrated dome. The ink runs hieroglyphic. You dab it, transferring Pharaoh Ptolemy's grocery list to your wrist. Something hums beneath the paper, audible through molars, same frequency as the Giralda's missing bell, which renovation crews accidentally melted into chamber pots in 1765. You flatten your palm, silencing ghosts with epidermal pressure. The vibration migrates to your fillings, now broadcasting a flamenco cover of Gödel's incompleteness theorems. Cold seeps from the map's southwest quadrant, where Ferdinand VI banned all shadows taller than 3 feet. Enforcement involved hired dwarves with pruning shears. You fold that corner shut, trapping a puff of frost and a baker's dozen screams. The paper resists for about as long as the king resisted sanity. Dawn's first rays skewer through shutters. Your hands move faster. Fold the confessing shadows into cranes. Fold the cranes into hat boxes. Fold the hat boxes into silence. One slip, a sliver of darkness escapes. It slithers behind your ear, muttering Moorish love poetry in Pig Latin. You slam the map into its portfolio, a little harder than necessary. Outside, street vendors unwrap churros like overdue apologies. Sunlight scrubs the plaza raw, all nights rebellions reduced to grease spots. You inhale burnt sugar, exhale whatever the lamps exhaled. Somewhere beneath your sternum, a shadow crow learns the harmonic minor scale. Let future archaeologists carbon date your fingerprint oils and weep at the intimacy. Rain taps its Morse code against cobblestones, 3 quick, 2 slow, a celestial spam email. You curl over the map, your spine, forming a human gable roof. Sevilla's aqueducts once channeled mercury-laced rainwater straight into noblemen's wine, explains the paranoid portraits. A drop lands where the Triana market should be, blooming into a phantom island. You name it elusive hangover in honor of historical accuracy. The map drinks greedily, riverbanks blurring into capillary networks. Historians still argue whether 1626's great flood was God's displeasure or bad engineering. Your sleeve smears a coastline, now reshaped like a tangle of betrayal. 13 dukes once drowned here, holding umbrellas upside down, a protest against precipitation taxes. Their soggy ghosts lobby for better punchlines. Thunder groans, the sound of a Gothic cathedral clearing its throat. You press harder, fingernails carving fjords into Portugal. Raindrops ricochet off the portfolio, each impact whispering a different currency's death rattle. A puddle forms, Columbus's lost manifest floating face up. Item 7. 17 parrots trained to scream, "This is India." Dampness climbs your collar, Seville's oldest flirtation tactic. Muslim hydrologists once stewarded these rains, until someone mislabeled an irrigation map as heresy. You fold a peninsula into custody, sentencing it to life without latitude. The paper hisses, or maybe that's your left knee discussing retirement. Lightning licks the Giralda, briefly reviving its melted bell aura. Your pinky detours into a margin, uncovering a doodled nun sipping tempests from a chalice. Sister Maria de la O's 1743 rain barrels were confiscated. Officials cited unnatural absorption rates. Her defense: the Lord prefers his thunderstorms aged 12 years, didn't sway the tribunal. Water stains birth archipelagos, their coastlines nibbled by ink piranhas. You rescue the Alcázar with a well-timed cough, moisture redistributing as reluctant tears. A rivulet bypasses your defenses, carving a canal straight to the map's compass rose. Cardinal directions dissolve, leaving a sticky puddle of wherever. Your elbow squashes a nascent swamp frog marginalia, croaking in protest. Someone glued 16th century tax records beneath this layer, their sums dissolving into prime number Sudoku. Raindrops performed as currency here in 1598. Skeptics called it liquid inflation. The portfolio gurgles, half moan, half forgotten, wishing well. You slap it, producing a C-sharp that shatters a puddle into perfect hexagons. Geometry apologizes immediately. Across the room, a forgotten umbrella blooms like a nylon mushroom. Too late to matter, this tragedy writes itself in humid haikus. Dawn arrives sodden and smug. Your map inhales, exhales, becomes a watercolor. Fold it now, or lose 3 centuries to mildew. You crease feverishly, trapping miniature tsunamis in paper valleys. Historians will call this cartographic CPR. You call it survival. The final fold seals like a lung breached by laughter. Rain retreats, taking your sense of verticality hostage. Somewhere beneath Cerro del Aguila, the city's original drainage map giggle floats in a vat of sherry. Sunrise unveils your handiwork, damp, warped, gloriously illegible. Let the scholars come. They'll need scuba gear to parse this. The final crease seals with a whisper, paper edges kissing like reunited conspirators. A tunnel spins from the fold dizzy as a dervish made of stationery. Through its O-shaped mouth, a courtyard shimmers, not just any plaza, but one with 6 sides where 5 should live. Here's the kicker. Its cobblestones bleed into 14th century Moorish tiles mid-stride. You blink hard, but the optical coup persists. A breeze sneaks through, smelling of saffron, and something distinctly non-Euclidean. The real Alcázar looms 3 blocks west, yet its reflection glimmers in a puddle at your feet. Workers found Visigoth coins beneath its foundations last year, stuffed inside a jug labeled "Do not open until Armageddon." The courtyard's fountain spurts liquid moonlight, or possibly mercury from those coins. Your neck hairs vote mercury. A stone bench warps as you watch its legs trading places like nervous sentries. Historians still argue whether Queen Isabella plotted the Reconquista here or just napped between sieges. Shadows congeal into a figure, bowler hat tilted at a jaunty 37 degrees. It tips its brim, revealing a pocket watch ticking backward. Your lungs tighten, time allergy acting up again. The portal shudders, spitballing random artifacts. A Roman column bursts through, only to dissolve into confetti-sized mosaic chips. 17 miniature conquistadors storm a sugar cube, castle their shouts, muffled by history's couch cushions. You recognize this diorama, it's gathering dust in the Museo de Bella's arts basement. Curators call it unstable. You call it Tuesday. Your pinky brushes the tunnel's edge, static zapping memories you didn't order. Now you're 9 again, lost in Triana market, clutching a honey-dripping churro. The map's compass rose blooms in your peripheral vision, petals sharp enough to draw blood. Adolescence taught you this trick, refolding trauma into origami swans. The courtyard's clock tower chimes 13, same as your heartbeat during that first panic attack. Light fractures oddly here, sliding down walls like overripe fruit. A cat materializes, or maybe half cat, its tail terminating in calligraphy. It coughs up a scroll case, contents smelling of burnt sage and tax evasion. Sevilla's archives mention these feline couriers, dismissed as medieval spam by modern academics. The creature dissolves, leaving an ink blot shaped like your signature. You lean closer, portal constricting around your face like a carnival mask. That archway wasn't there before, or was it? Its keystone bears the Habsburg seal, slightly off-center. Someone's added googly eyes in charcoal. Your breath fogs ancient mortar, revealing fingerprints too large to be human. Workers expanding the metro in 92 hit a chamber full of them, quickly reburied to avoid paperwork. The courtyard contracts, walls folding inward like a closing lotus. A mosaic bull winks, revealing ceramic eyes that follow your slightest twitch. Moorish geometrists would have killed for these proportions if they hadn't preferred poetry. Your left shoe sticks to the tiles, stepped in phantom fig jam from 1492. The map groans, portal narrowing to a soda straw glimpse. You glimpse a cloaked figure, chiseling symbols into a well. Their tool sparks gold, same alloy as Columbus's dumbest compass. Historians still argue whether Jewish cartographers coded escape routes into synagogue mosaics or just enjoyed pretty patterns. The well swallows the chisel whole, burps up a perfect Doric column. Sevilla's full of these architectural hiccups. Denial only feeds them. Reality reasserts itself, your forehead fused to damp paper. The portal's sealed, taking the six-sided wonder with it. A watermark remains, vaguely uterus-shaped. Your knees rebuke this metaphysical squat. Church bells erupt, sounding suspiciously like a flamenco singer clearing her throat. Through the window, ordinary pigeons peck at ordinary crumbs, but your palms thrum, imprinted with courtyard cobblestones that textbooks claim never existed. The map lies dormant for now. You slip it between mattress springs, safe from dawn's prying fingers. Let archivists squabble over flood records. You've cradled a city's stolen spleen. Coffee brews, its steam sketching the courtyard's archway before dissolving. You smirk into the mug, knowing what's folded between wakefulness and daylight. History isn't a ledger. It's a thrift shop. Some days, you bag the good stuff. The coffee's warmth lingers. Your thumb discovers a corner previously glued shut. Peel it back. There's your childhood balcony, rendered in pencil smudges. Triana Bridge stretches behind it, except your 7-year-old self added a dinosaur crossing. Archaeologists found Visigoth graves under that bridge in 2005. No word on velociraptor fossils. The sketch smells of burnt sugar, same as Abuela's kitchen during her failed Tehran experiments. A crackle the paper remembers. You press the crease, and suddenly you're breathing chalk, dust from your 3rd grade classroom. Senorita Perez wrote forbidden fractions on that board, her cursive looping like smuggler's roots. Historians still argue whether Santa Cruz's labyrinthine streets protected Jews, or just confused, drunk sailors. Your fingertip bridges past and present. The map's Rio Guadiana is now your sweat tracing a collarbone. The bedroom window phases into view, its wrought iron bars bent from that time you tested gravity with a mattress. Moonlight pools where your Jurassic Park posters once hung, replaced by water stains in Rorschach patterns. Something moves, a shadow wearing Dad's 1995 soccer jersey. It dribbles a ball of crumpled homework, vanishing when you blink. Local legends speak of echo parents haunting renovation sites, their cheers trapped in fresh cement. Your knuckle brushes the sketch. It's vibrating at Middlesea. The vibration matches the hum of Seville's underground rivers, those buried streams that toppled Alfonso XII's carriage. A coffee ring on the map becomes a portal revealing Abuela, hiding Christmas presents in the chimney. She waves, her apron pockets leaking anise candies. The National Archives lists her as deceased, but archival ink fades faster than memory. Fold by accident, the room compresses. Now you're 9, hiding in the armoire during divorce arguments. Its cedar scent mingles with map mildew, a perfume called stifled questions. Your knees bump a secret compartment. Dad's tucked love letters from someone not Mom. Municipal records show he bought tulip bulbs weekly, though the garden stayed barren. The tulips bloom now in the sketch, their petals sharp enough to slice decades. A drop hits the paper your tear, or the Guadalquivir spray. The moisture warps streets into Salvador Dali's summer home. That's new. A door knocker shaped like your first crush's smirk appears, then melts into a puddle of pewter. 17 nuns file past singing Radiohead's Creep. A decent cover if your ears squint. Historians agree the Inquisition hated guitar, but debate their stance on Tom York. Your pinky traces Cal Sirps, triggering a phantom beggar's horse flamenco. Each cobblestone replays the day you left. Suitcase, wheels etching grooves still visible in Google Earth. Urban myth claims the street swallows arrogant tourists, though TripAdvisor flags those reviews. The sketch shudders, spitting out a bronze key tarnished by 30 years of pocket lint. It fits no lock, but feels right in your palm somehow. Lightning cracks, but it's just fluorescent bulbs in Mom's old sewing room. The map's edges curl like her discarded dress patterns. She tried teaching you to hem needles, always drawing blood. You preferred drawing fantasy, subway lines through her fabric scraps. Civilian engineers found those doodles in 7, mistook them for Byzantine blueprints during sewer repairs. Another fold, the ceiling becomes floor. Now you're 16, sneaking back at dawn with sangria-stained lips. That stain spreads on the sketch, morphing into Christopher Columbus's dubious birth certificate. Your heel grinds it to pulp, same as the archivists who fake certified it for tourism bucks. The room smells of jasmine and deception, plus a hint of 7th period body spray. A cough echoes not yours. There's the ghost of Abuelo's parrot, eternally squawking the wrong lottery numbers. People say birds remember everything. Yet he called 22 as the winner every Tuesday. The sketch's palm tree withers, mirroring the one Dad uprooted in '98. Botanists confirmed it had absorbed 3 centuries of neighborhood gossip, which died along with its roots. You press too hard, the paper rips near the church spire. A crimson thread snakes from the tier, stitching itself into your lifeline. The thread leads to your inaugural cigarette behind the cathedral, coughs echoing off Gothic buttresses. Restoration crews still find Cool's boxes in the choir loft, labeled Archbishop's emergency supply. Your lungs twinge, half 1999, half now. The map hisses, a sound scalding as Mom's disapproval. Fold it, unfold it. The creases multiply beyond Euclid's nightmares. Your birth certificate winks from the corner correction, fluid, obscuring, illegitimate, under artist. City Hall denies, altering pre-2000 records. But 5 clerks retired abruptly that March. The sketch's sun fades, replaced by the flicker of your old nightlight, its pull string dangling like a lifeline. One last fold, your fingertip meets its 9-year-old self through the paper. Here's the choice: let go or collapse the years entirely. Somewhere, a taxi honks. A fridge hums. The real world elbows in rude as always. You release the edge, the sketch flattening, but not before copying your fingerprint in disappearing ink. Dawn leaks through curtains. The map's edges smile like accomplices. It's done. 3 decades pressurized into pulp and regret. Under childhood home, you scribble a footnote, visitors welcome, parking in repressed memories. The coffee's cold, but you drink it anyway, toasting the architects of personal cartography. The map's creases breathe, warm exhales lifting dust, motes into dawn's horizontal light. You need the paper's edge, thumbs smudging Portugal into Spain like overripe fruit. Cartographers once dueled over this frontier, a 1297 treaty etched with missing oxen counts and royal grudges. Your nail traces the phantom herd. Now just a dotted line, allergic to permanence. Someone hung laundry across the border last Tuesday, underwear flapping in both nations' winds. Historians still argue whether King Dinis actually cared about territory or just wanted better wine trade routes. A drop of sweat swerves off your elbow, collapsing Andalusian counties into a Rorschach blot. The stain resembles your 3rd grade teacher's haircut, that asymmetrical bob she defended as postmodern. You blot it with a sleeve, accidentally erasing a cathedral. No worries. Seville's skyline regenerates like starfish limbs, spires clawing upward in fresh ink. Local legend claims the Giralda tower bends to eavesdrop, its shadow cocked like a curious ear. Your pinky smears the Guadalquivir's curve. It overflows, liquid blue seeping into Portugal's cork forests. Fishermen's curses rise as octopuses invade their riverbank card games. The map puckers, reforming itself around your laughter. A coffee stain becomes the uncharted isle where your ex proposed, sunk now beneath Java tides. Marine archaeologists traced Columbus's route using bacterial slime trails. But you've got Folgers and regret. Sunlight hits the compass rose, its petals melting across your wrists like temporary tattoos. You scratch it west, unleashing a squall of origami cranes. They flap in formation towards La Tabacalera, that crumbling factory where revolutionaries planned coups between cigar breaks. Workers once smuggled sedition notes in tobacco bunches, censors too busy coughing to read them. Your breath sends the paper birds spiraling, their wings disintegrating into pay stubs and parking tickets. The map groans, its spine cracking like knuckles before a brawl. Fold lines yawn open, revealing the Mercator projection's dirty secret. Greenland shrinks like a wool sweater in hot water. Africa swells to true continent size. A paper cut blooms on your thumb, Cartagena Island's shape etched in microdermis. Pharmacies, they're sold mercury-laced rouge in the 1700s. Clients died gorgeous and delusional. You press the wound to the page blood cells, negotiating new territories. Scarlet tendrils bypass coffee-stained fjords, colonizing the margins where sea monsters once frolicked. They evolve in real time, protozoa becoming kraken, becoming a smudged thumbprint. Scholars recently proved medieval mermaids were manatees with better PR. But try telling that to the Selkie in your lowercase. Oh, fingertips skate across political blues. UN-recognized waters, resisting your touch. Tidal patterns align with yesterday's browser history. Search terms about rental cars and forgiveness. A paper ridge snags your ring. The metal warms into a Spanish doubloon. From 1622, numismatists confirm pirates used these as emergency dental fillings, though contemporary accounts mention gum rot and regret. The map buckles, half succumbing to gravity, half staging a coup. You flatten it with your forearm tendons, recalling that clingy ex who mistook boundaries for suggestions. Street grids ripple into fingerprints, your unique whorls overwriting Plaza de España's cobbles. Municipal workers will scrub them tomorrow, unaware they're polishing your identity into tourist souls. Wind sneaks through the window, carrying a toddler's balloon and the scent of impending rain. The map levitates briefly in that magic trick before descent. You catch it mid-sigh, fingers finding the exact fold where Toledo stopped mattering. Weather maps from 1808 show Napoleon's troops marching under sunny icons. Turns out meteorology favors conquerors. Your thumbnail etches storm clouds over Austerlitz. Anachronistic, but cathartic. A water tower looms on the page, its shadow eating neighborhoods whole. You poke the reservoir, concentric circles, spreading into estranged cousins, wedding invites. The tower crumbles graphically, a dotted line demolition from drafting class hell. Urban explorers found 300 love letters in its base last year, addressed to the city itself, stamped return to sender. The map hums, resonating with your phone's forgotten GPS. You let them duel, satellites versus parchment, Euclid versus Silicon Valley. Latitude lines quiver, unsure which master to obey. A rogue crease becomes the Berlin Wall, then a hopscotch grid, then your childhood home's faulty security alarm. Historians agree walls fail, but keep building them between textbook chapters. Ink bleeds, forming a country shaped like your last good decision. Its borders flex, with each breath a capital city migrating toward your pulse point. You name it in disappearing script letters, fraying before the final consonant. The CIA's World Factbook won't recognize it, but your passport's unofficial pages whisper congratulations. Cicadas crescendo outside their buzz, syncopating with papers, whispered, unraveling. You pluck a fiber from the maps. Edge it oscillates between cordage and memory. Grandmothers spun similar threads from attic cobwebs during the Civil War, makeshift sutures for fractured histories. Your hands remember before you do, weaving catastrophe into something wearable. The compass rose wilts, its north arrow drooping like a tired eyelid. You prop it up with a paperclip temporary as Franco's tombstone flowers. Magnetic north jogs west, tugging your hometown sideways into a river. Google Maps can't explain it, their algorithms stuttering over personal geography. Dusk arrives uninvited, painting the room in expired sepia. The map glows, not from sunlight, but accumulated wishes in its pulp. They pulse like fireflies in a mason jar. Warburg's lost library smoldering through linen paper. Archivists deny paper can combust from sheer longing. Meanwhile, your fingerprints singe the margins. You fold once, sharp final, reducing empires to a square small enough to lose between sofa cushions. Air flees the paper's lungs, carrying the taste of every border ever crossed. Tomorrow, someone will iron it flat, never sensing the mountain ranges in its grain, or how your palms still sweat at the fold. Paper fibers vibrate against your palm, not from tremors, but the aftershock of holding civilizations. Your hands cradle Seville's skyline, its ink still hot from Gutenberg's ghost press. Librarians during Spain's Civil War swallowed map fragments to protect them, digesting geography into body and bone. You feel their hunger now, a hollow thrum beneath your sternum. The tremor begins at your pinky, traveling up through cartographers' calluses. Centuries of spilled wine stains tighten into tourniquets, each wrinkle a dictator's failed border. Historians still argue whether the Great Archive fire of 1912 was arson or spontaneous combustion from crowded truths. Your fingernail taps, a phantom smoke, alarm. The rhythm sinks with moth wings in the ceiling corner. One crease refuses to stay flat. It arches like a cat's spine. You press down, meeting resistance from 17th century squid ink. Alchemists once brewed it with crushed beetle wings, lending maps their iridescent lies. The paper bucks, revealing a hidden elevation, your childhood hilltop, where you first kissed a stranger, and later a police radar gun. A sweat droplet hits the legend box. Scale 1, 10,000 bleeds into regret 1. Infinity. Street grids warp into EEG readouts, charting your last stressful GPS jam session. Municipal archivists will later mistake these stains for acid rain patterns. Unaware, they're mapping your autonomic nervous system. Your thumb finds the safe word, a watermarked dove near Triana bridge. Pressing it summons the scent of burning cork, the same smell when Franco's censors torched anarchist pamphlets. Modern tourists call it ambience, their selfie sticks, oblivious to history's aftertaste. The map's corner snags on a hangnail. Suddenly, your 7 peeling Scotch tape off your mother's zoning blueprints. She warned that cities grow teeth if left unfiled. You spit on the tear saliva bonding centuries like a dubious peace treaty. Conservationists would faint. But spit built more empires than parchment. A paper cut blooms. Its stinging path traces Ferdinand III's 1248 siege routes. You suck the wound, tasting copper, and the crypto-Jews who fled beneath this map's fibers. Their minuscule Torahs hide in umlauts, safe from Inquisition highlighters. Warmth spreads through your palm, not blood, but the slow leak of trapped sunlight. Renaissance mapmakers bottled June noons in glass vials, labeled them dragon's breath for gullible nobles. You exhale, fogging Portugal into a Rorschach blot that resembles your therapist's eyebrows. The crease deepens, mutating from fold to fault line. Your fingerprints interlock with those of dead surveyors. A biometric handshake across mold and vellum. Archivists recently proved medieval monks tracked plague deaths through marginalia doodles. Rats wearing tiny coronation robes. Muscle memory kicks in, you fold west to east, silencing Portugal's whine about fishing rights. The motion mirrors closing a suitcase full of someone else's secrets. A sandalwood scent escapes. Smuggler monks used it to mask contraband silk. Your nose twitches at the anachronism, along with 2003's bath and Body Works flashbacks. Pressure builds beneath your fourth finger, a secret compartment swelling like a lie detector test. Pop it. Find a micromap of Cervantes' prison cell, its walls scored with rough drafts of Don Quixote. The cell's real, its museum sign calls the carvings unknown vandalism. Your pen hovers, itching to correct the label, but some truths bite when unearthed. The room dims, not from sunset, but the map absorbing photons like a warlock's grimoire. Street lamps flicker on in the parchment suburbs, their glow softer than the screen light, still hazing your periphery. You shield the page, maternal instinct hijacked by Wi-Fi withdrawal. A laugh escapes sharp, unplanned, derailing the solemnity. The maps you are here arrow points to your coffee cup. Its rings mimicking crop circles from that UFO cult's failed wheat field PR stunt. Alkaloids and absurdity fuse. You're now the GPS dot between caffeine and collapse. Final fold approaches your hand's stall, oscillating like a metronome between archive and bonfire. This is how librarians collapse, not from age, but the backdraft of unwritten histories. You press down hard, converting cathedral spires into origami cranes mid-flight. They carry what you've sealed, the silent tremor of holding worlds too delicate for ink. The map sears your palms, not with heat, but the chill of photographic negatives. Streets glow bone-white buildings, gaping like reverse silhouettes. This twin Seville pulses. Its Plaza de España curves inward, a swallow's nest built by architects who hated right angles. Your thumbnail catches on a cobblestone's inverse. It clinks, softer than real granite. 18th century workers smuggled Roman mosaic chips into pavement gaps. Small rebellions against Habsburg uniformity. The glow intensifies, revealing shadow figures bowed beneath invisible loads. Their backs mirror yours, each vertebra a hill on your spinal roadmap. A bridge appears where none exists, its arches dripping like wax. Historians still argue whether the Guadalquivir once flowed backward during the Black Death, or if terrified mapmakers simply drew their fears. You test it, pressing a finger against phantom currents. Ripples spread, echoing through your joints, old world arthritis imported via shared delusions. The Mercado Lana de los Esclavos shimmers, its slave market walls now blank as fresh parchment. Your breath fogs the atrocity. It condenses into dew on inkless lines. Locals whisper that midnight poltergeists restock its shelves with guilt priced in corroded ducats. Your coffee-stained birthmark aligns with the inverse cathedral's spire, a perfect bullseye. Renaissance astrologers claimed such marks were celestial trysts, divine graffiti from bored angels. The spire bends, stabbing your reflection's left pupil. Suddenly, you're 15, stealing communion wine behind a tapestry of St. George botching his dragon pitch. Air hisses through the map's pores. It smells of burned hair and overripe persimmons. Alchemists once distilled these into truth serum for heretic interrogations, with a 70% confession rate and 100% nonsense. You cough, tasting the ghost of a 1623 perjury charge. Parallel alleys writhe, birthing corridors that fuse gaudy with H.R. Geiger. Your pen rolls across the table. Its path mimics the illegal shortcut taxi drivers take past the Torre del Oro. Municipal plates officially deny that route exists, while collecting tolls in unmarked bins. One glowing street splits like cell mitosis. The left fork leads to your first apartment, its radiator still clanking Morse code apologies. The right dissolves into Plato's Atlantis, or maybe a 1987 Pizza Hut excavation site Scholars remain divided. Your index finger hovers, a divining rod charged with poor life choices. Moonlight hits a phantom kiosk, selling maps of your hometown's secret third river. Its vendor wears your face, but with better posture. You shake your head. The motion activates a hidden pop-up page. A miniature Alhambra unfolds, its walls scrawled with graffiti in Visigoth Comic Sans. Warmth spreads from your sternum, not heartburn, but the map sipping your body heat. Medieval physicians, believed cartographers, could cure fevers by pressing patients against fresh vellum. The humor drainage method. Your pores leak sepia, faint sketches of dental bills and fender benders staining the margins. The page sticks to your wrist, a temporary tattoo of inverted traffic circles. Their spirals tighten, recalling Seville FC's cursed 1955 season, when every match ended in origami cranes storming the field. You peel it back, revealing a subdermal street grid that itches like a divorce decree. A tendril of glow worms through the map's creases. It's not bioluminescence, but the handwriting of Alfonso X's disgraced scribe. He encoded heresies in road widths until the church hired a dyslexic censor. Your pinky traces a forbidden curve. It buzzes, threatening to autocorrect your DNA. Sudden vertigo. The floor becomes the ceiling of your parallel self. They're folding you now, creasing your joints into tied charts. Their scissors hover near your lifeline, not cutting, just testing the give. All those years fearing death. Turns out you should have feared archivists. 3 rapid heartbeats match 3 church bells that don't ring here. Your lungs compress, pushing air into the map's parchment alveoli. A trade carbon dioxide for the scream Christopher Columbus stifled when he realized America wasn't the spices menu. The glow fades, first gradually, then all at once, hotel minibar style. Your retina burns with residual streetscapes, their afterimage overlapping the real Seville's urban brochure. Cheap toner smell replaces mystic phosphorescence. Progress always smells like a Kinko's circa 1999. Crumbs of light linger under your nails, or maybe just the usual existential glitter. You consider licking them, a bad idea with precedent. That time in Malaga when you taste tested holy concrete spoiler. It rated lower than airline hummus. A final flicker dies in the compass. Rose, its cardinal points drooping like dehydrated tulips. North whimpers, disoriented by your proximity to Wi-Fi routers. The map lies spent, its secrets now resembling your 7th grade diary, equal parts profound and profoundly cringe. Dawn's first motorcycle backfires, a reality check written in exhaust. You fold the map along its original creases. Prison tattoo artists nodding approval from the margins. Their needles whisper tell the next one we're still here. The crease bites back, a paper cut sharpened by 5 centuries of defiance. Your thumb finds the spot where King Charles V's troops crushed the Comuneros' revolt. the map's fibers bunched like a still bleeding scar. Legend claims rebel poets encoded messages in sonnet folds, their verses springing to life when dampened with tears. You try spitting tourists' revenge, but the parchment just hisses like a censored archives clerk. Parallel lines squirm a street grid, rejecting your touch. Historians still argue whether 1520s uprising defended citizens' rights or just nobles' bottom lines. Your nail catches on a fleur-de-lis watermark. It stinks of rotten lilies. Turns out the nobles' manifesto ink contained snail mucus, because medieval manifestos needed that extra G knee size booger. The crease deepens, a Grand Canyon for mites. You switch tactics, tracing it with a feather plucked from your landlady's dreamcatcher. 17 nuns once smuggled rebel maps inside hollow quills their convent, now houses an airbnb with spotty Wi-Fi. The parchment softens, momentarily fooled by gentler hands. Opposite corners curl like bull horns, Seville asserting its Toramation DNA. A secret passage ripples beneath your palms, the phantom echo of smuggler tunnels honeycombing Triana. Urban myth says tapas bar basements connect to Ferdinand III's latrines, but archaeologist blogs call it revisionist plumbing. You press harder, the map retaliates with a paper jam sensation where your lifeline meets its metro route. Twin columns materialize, Hercules and Julius Caesar doing the world's most awkward high five. Their marble hands trap your pinky. A tactile reminder Rome built this city on tax evasion and loose gravel. The crease flexes, emitting a sound uncannily like your gym teacher's whistle. You fold a compromise, a diagonal pleat, avoiding the main conflict zone. The paper emits grudging compliance, plus a bonus doodle of Cervantes flipping the bird. Local lore claims banned Don Quixote drafts were used as toilet paper in royal stables. A fitting end for satire that outsold Spain's actual budget reports. Moonlight leaks through the map's sudden pinhole, a makeshift glory hole for peeping Tom constellations. Your breath frosts the opening, creating a temporary lens that magnifies Puerto de Jerez's 10 ugliest statues. The crease finally capitulates, though you swear it mutters next time. Gaditano in Andalusian side-eye. Heat flares along the defeated fold, the tactile equivalent of a concession speech. You seal it with your ring, the same €8 flea market copy Cortés might, hawked for gunpowder money. Beneath the wax, half the Plaza de Toros vanishes, censored by self-aware cartography. The remaining streets snap into alignment, rigid as Habsburg posture in official portraits. Your earlobe twitches, yesterday's siesta crease, protesting this new geometry. Blame Goya, his engravings taught shadows how to hold grudges. A coffee stain quivers, morphing into Portugal. Not ideal, but the map seems smugger about your swollen knuckles. 3 motes of dust swirl into a miniature tornado over the Guadalquivir. which is frankly overcompensating for its lack of actual tides. You trap them under tracing paper, instant snow globe for cynics. The crease stays flat now, though its silence feels heavier than Philip II's tomb. Through the window, dawn licks, Giralda towers, weather-vane La Fille Victoriosa, getting her morning spitshine. You pocket the map, its rebellious ridge permanently denting your left buttock. Some revolutions leave marks deeper than ink and subtler than Habsburg portraiture. Floorboards creak in solidarity. Or maybe it's just the ghost of that one overachieving cartographer who mapped hell's zip codes. Either way, you walk softer now, each step avoiding paper-cut fault lines where tomorrow's rebellion might unfold. Your palms drum the vellum, 3 crisp taps, matching the ghost clack of Carmen Amia's heels. Flamenco was born in Andalusia's smoke-stained taverns, its rhythms smuggled from Romany camps and Moorish zambras. You fold counterclockwise, defying the map's grid like a Baleora, snapping her shawl at gravity. A coffee stain pulses, transforming into the Triana courtyard, where guitarist Paco de Lucia first revolutionized bulerías. Historians still argue whether those early rhythms were coded protests or just really angry love songs. Your pinky traces a scorch mark, allegedly from an 1847 censorship raid, burning seditious castanets. The paper resists until you hum the Siguiria's descending scale. 17 nuns secretly taught flamenco palmas in this convent-turned-hostel, their handclaps archived in the wall's acoustic tiles. Your landlady swears room 6's shower still moans I at midnight. A water stain becomes your improv partner, its edges syncopating against your folds. Urban myth claims 18th century cobblers invented the bulería rhythm, their hammers striking leather soles in chromatic frustration. You carve a hembra fold, then a macho crease, gender politics of paper engineering. Moonlight slices through your last cigarette, smoke curlicues echoing the Giralda's spiraling ramps 5 centuries back. The disabled bell ringer Juanilo Turiano designed those incline-less ascents, engineering genius overshadowed by flashier cathedral bling. Your thumbnail etches his name, but the parchment coughs up mortar dust instead. A corner curls Banderillas de Oro bullring, impersonating a flamenco dancer's arched spine. You flatten it with 3 decisive taps, tack on, plano, tack on. The map shivers, releasing a pressed jasmine from its fibers. College kids downstairs blast Rosalia remixes. Your creases answer with antique compas. Wax from your candle congeals into a miniature cajon drum. 17 tourists actually died of duende overload during Camarões' 1979 Seville concert. Or so the dodgy plaque near Cal Sirp's claims. You flick the wax, producing a sound like God clearing his throat through a vocoder. Your wristwatch hiccups, its ticking thrown off by the paper's 5/8 bulge. True flamenco rejects metronomes, much like how smuggler tunnels reject municipal maps. 8 seconds of perfect silence. Then, the Diario de Seville headlines float up their ink, dancing sevillanas across the margins. A misplaced fold births unintended geometry, the Plaza de España becoming a 12-pointed star. You smirk, recalling how Franco hijacked flamenco for propaganda, then accidentally funded underground protest tableaus. The star twitches, morphing into a Hamsa hand, warding off fascist aesthetics. Sweat warps the legend box, each droplet a microtonal shift in the map's key. Experts think medieval troubadours encoded escape routes in their cants to Ida y Vuelta. Not that it saved them from the Inquisition's Spotify playlists. Your knuckle cracks, perfect gulp percussion, erasing 3 unwanted toll booths. The final tuck requires teeth, ethical maybe, but tradition demands contact. Your incisors meet where Juan Belmont once took a horn to the jaw mid-falsetta. The parchment stiffens, then surrenders, transformed into an abstract Toro de Osborne. Through the window, street sweepers scrape away last night's revelry. Your map-leathered hands throb improvised castanets for daylight's relentless tango. Some rebellions thrive in asymmetry and ache like a well-stretched sola. Dust motes swirl apathetic audience members in your private tableau. You bow anyway, because flamenco endures where maps fail in the space between compás and chaos. Your breath escapes as vapor, sharpening the map's creases into crystalline fractals. The paper flexes, a living diaphragm beneath your palms. 17th century nuns believed exhaled prayers could starch altar linens. Tonight's mist reshapes geography. Orange blossom pollen glows in your sigh, particles aligning with the Guadalquivir's ink. Historians still argue whether Seville's Roman aqueducts carried water or liquid moonlight for drunk philosophers. You blink, the debate evaporates as your eyelashes scatter 83 miniature rainbows across Portugal's border. The center crease hums, Dorian mode tuning to your pulse. Urban explorers swear the Alcázar's maze shifts nightly, but you've just folded its hedges into parallel universes. One thumbprint smudges Morocco into existence, accidental colonialism with a hangover. Dampness blooms between skin and parchment, your sweat becoming the map's new salinity scale. A flea market vendor once sold you Christopher Columbus's nasal hair. Turns out it was just a desiccated eyelash. You hum, and the follicle sprouts into a tiny caravel sailing your wrist. Each fold exhales centuries. 17 generations of map folders haunt your thumbnail. Franco criminalized flamenco's Cuello whale. Yet his portrait on the 50 peseta note makes perfect palmas claps if you're desperate. Your pinky mutes his face, anarchist origami at its pettiest. 3 warped corners mimic the Triana bridge's curve, architect Gustave Eiffel's rejected design. Included a built-in moat for crocodiles. Your teeth nick the paper, releasing a scent of saffron and diesel from the 1992 Expo's Ghost Pavilions. The ink ripples, street names blurring into Federico Garcia Lorca's unedited verses. Your landlady's cat bats at Seville's vanished Jewish quarter, claws snagging on centuries of whitewashed frescoes. You rescue a dangling Ulgamiato manuscript, which dissolves into purrs. Spiders reinforce weak folds with silk, their threads humming Gregorian chants. At 432 HC, archaeologists found Visigoth triple tombs under the Plaza Nueva. But locals blame the uneven pavement on their ghostly tango lessons. The final tuck requires biting, incisors denting, where Cervantes wrote Don Quixote drafts between wine spills. Your saliva becomes a palimpsest, etching a Yelp review over a Templar treasure map. 5 stars for heresy, 1 star for legibility. Dawn's first rays hit, your breath mist disintegrates into Wi-Fi signals and cicada static. The map settles its heartbeat, sinking with the cathedral's stolen minaret. Sleep deprivation or sanctity depends whether you're wearing the Archbishop's spare hat. Street sweepers broom the plaza, their bristles scritching out yesterday's flamenco lyrics. You pocket the folded city, where it whispers through denim like a gypsy grandma's lottery predictions. Paper is patient. Paper is already drafting tomorrow's escape routes. The denim pulse fades as first light licks your knuckles. Seville's dawn arrives 2 minutes early this equinox. You flatten the crease between Plaza de España's tilework, but sunrise bleeds through the paper, turning pathways molten. 17th century artisans baked Alcázar tiles at 900 degrees C. Tonight's golden glare feels hotter. Your thumbnail splits a wrinkle. Out spills powdered cochineal from colonial dye vats. Historians still argue whether the Giralda's tilt resulted from pride or a bricklayer's siesta-induced trigonometry. You snort, dust motes swarm into Phoenician, trade routes that dissolve before reaching Cadiz. Fold faster north edge crimped between ring and pinky. Legends claim Visigoth kings mixed dormouse ashes into cathedral mortar. Your sweat slicks the paper like forbidden mortar. Too late, the sun pries open a crease, revealing a spectral IKEA where Fernando III's troops once camped. Gold leaf clings to your cuticles. 12 generations of guilders curse through your pores. That Arab host swore her grandfather smuggled flamenco 78s in cured hams. But dawn's rays warp vinyl into chorizo-scented kaleidoscopes. You cough paprika. The plaza mayor spins like a sufganiyya, dropped by a dyslexic dreidel. 6 unfinished seams glow radioactive. You bite down hard. Urban myth says Franco's ghost haunts Abasto's market. But really, it's just expired manchego hallucinations. Your molars grind Moorish calculus and rapamycin, pharmaceutical palimpsests, rewriting the map's longitude. A crow lands on the sill. Its shadow tattoos Toledo steel patterns across your wrists. Archaeologists debate if Roman sewer engineers worshipped Closina. Your blisters suggest they sacrificed fingernails. The bird caws. Its beak splits a crease wide enough to smell 1493's shipboard latrines. Hide the map, but light ricochets off your phone screen, superimposing Tinder notifications over the age of exploration. An unmatched conquistador's profile lingers, GSOH, seeks India's occidentals. No Quicksilver enthusiasts, your thumb jabs decline, accidentally colonizing the Canary Islands via autocorrect. Final tuck, the paper screams like Gaudi's unsettled Sagrada Familia gargoyles. Construction cranes rust mid-swing above your rooftop, their shadows forming picket lines against gentrified clouds. You exhale. Last night's garlic shrimp breath animates a tiny protest in the margin. Too late, dawn etches your eyelids with UV cartography. The map hardens a gilded Hangul kogiya. Enus Hangul koya, enus Hangul komenus. ROUTER casing for cockroach 5G conspiracies. 15% battery life becomes the new Silk Road. Unstable tariffs between sleep and documentation. Church bells blare, you chuck the map at a passing dog walker. It arcs, a heat death comet trailing warranty-voided RFID tags. Their terrier pisses on Lisbon, instantly gentrifying the Tagus estuary. Seville reboots in HD, your pupils contract into pinhole cameras. Someone's hung laundry across Cal Sirp's boxer shorts, snapping like papal bowls over Columbus's empty tomb. Your pocket buzzes. The map's final whisper outlining siesta raves in the metropole parasol's shadow. Streetlight afterimages cling like Baroque putti with trust funds. You blink, retinas imprinting Google Maps, reviews over Isabella's confessional ledgers. 5 stars for free Wi-Fi during the Inquisition. 1 star for lack of wheelchair ramps in the Cumber Vieja lava flow. The sun wins, always wins, its rays buttering your eyelids with circadian malware. Last thought, maybe the real fold was the sleep deprivation we antiqued along the way. The leather case accepts your map like a feverish confession. Its clasp clicks shut with Vatican-level finality. Cold radiates from floor vents designed to mimic 16th century cellar drafts. An accurate torment. You slide it between Columbus's ship logs and a tax dispute from Hispaniola. The General Archive of the Indies never detects tonight's sins. Your thumbprint glows faintly on the vellum, a delta of salt and melatonin. Urban explorers swear they've seen Beethoven's lost cantata draft here, filed under unsolicited Habsburg fan mail. The guard yawns her espresso cup, rattling Habsburg dental records in your peripheral vision. Damp air clings to your collar, Seville's humidity perfected by Roman aqueduct math. Historians still argue whether the missing Trinidad voyage charts sank or got repurposed as tapas napkins. You lean against a cabinet containing 3 centuries of paprika export permits. The wood grain hums Mozart's Queen of the Night aria backwards. Flick the desk lamp. It dies obediently. Restoration interns whisper about a cursed Guadalquivir map causing permanent hiccups. But you've got enough problems. The exit door groans, its iron handle colder than Queen Isabella's pre-breakfast handshake. Moonlight filters through anti-pigeon wire, painting chessboards on the cobblestones. Your shadow stretches toward the tobacco factory-turned-university, where Garcia Lorca's ghost allegedly vapes in the gender studies section. A night janitor's radio plays reggaeton covers of sea shanties. You walk faster. The archive's heartbeat fades beneath taxi horns and Europop. Historians will call your map marginally foxed, late 20th century imitation, never noticing the crease where you pressed a lover's concert ticket. Metro construction unearths Visigoth-era cornerstone beneath Burger King. Your fingerprints outlast them all. Your key scrapes the lock, home smelling of microwaved tortilla española and existential dread. The map rests now, cradled by bureaucratic oblivion, its rivers still whispering. Let scholars measure, let archivists categorize. They'll never taste the ink or feel how its folds still cradle your breath. Dawn licks the rooftops, golden saliva erasing your night's work. You place the map on your windowsill, Seville's contours softening into morning haze. The Guadalquivir winks, a co-conspirator retreating into tourist brochures. Across the street, a barista sets out chairs, his elbow brushing a plaque about Cervantes writing here between debt collections. Your coffee cools untouched, its surface ripples mirroring the map's rivers. You count 12 storks nesting on the Giralda, each twig stolen from Byzantine-inspired buttresses. Historians still argue whether Seville's 17th century collapse came from plagues or commissioning too many frescoes of chubby angels. A delivery van backfires, the sound ripping through the cal sirps like a conquistador's musket. The paper warms, its folds sighing open like jasmine blooms. A breeze plucks at the corner, depicting Triana market, where vendors once traded saffron for parakeets. Your thumb finds the crease where Incan silver roots crosshatch Franco-era tram lines. Someone's hung laundry overhead. A flamenco dancer's polka dot skirt transforming into pirate semaphore flags. Church bells vomit sound. You flinch, remembering that 1588's Armada deployment was delayed by priests blessing each cannon individually. Across the river, the futuristic mushrooms of Metropole Parasol ooze shade, their concrete veins pulsing with Wi-Fi signals. You trace the map's edge, fingernail catching on a coffee stain from that all-nighter in the Mudejar archives. Workers repaint a crosswalk, white lines slicing through cobblestones laid by Genoese masons. The ink shivers your nocturnal Seville, retreating into pulp and regrets. A tour guide claims the cathedral's orange trees glowed in the dark until 1929. But locals know the real magic died with the last silk weaver's loom. Foot traffic thickens, clicking heels drown out the map's whispered coordinates. You snap a photo, its digital copy, already decaying in the cloud. Somewhere beneath your feet, Visigoth bones debate parking garage fees with Roman sewer ghosts. The paper grows heavy, too alive for daylight, its creases aching to sprout new alleys. Street cleaners hose away confetti, carnival sequins swirling into medieval runoff ditches. You fold the map once more vertically, splitting the Alcázar, exactly where Peter the Cruel buried his mistress's disappointment. A child points at your window, her ice cream echoing the tower's custard-toned stones. The rectangle fits your breast pocket, overheating like a Nokia from '99. You descend into metro tunnels, passing mosaics of Columbus, looking seasick. Archaeologists found Phoenician anchors here last Tuesday, wedged between a Zara and adult bookstore. Your shadow detaches, slinking back to haunt the archive's humidity sensors. Office workers flood escalators, their briefcases stuffed with paella recipes and existential spreadsheets. The map hums against your ribs, a finite heartbeat. By noon, the creases will dissolve into heat, the ink surrendering to photons. But for now, it pulses, a parallel city pumping through your arteries. Sunlight blasts the Plaza de España, its faux Renaissance curves sweating selfie sticks. You buy lemons from a stall, their waxed skins mimicking the map's protective coating. The vendor winks, his tattooed forearm displaying a bullring map from the Napoleonic era. Sweat drips onto Cervantes's quote about journeys, blurring the ink into something new. Pigeons erupt, a feather grazes your ear, carrying the scent of last night's folding creases. You board the tram, its route carved over Jewish cemetery coordinates. 3 teenagers compare iPhone photos of Gothic gargoyles, unaware their cloud storage overwrites Moorish water maps, bite by bite. The map shifts, digesting urban noise into silence. You exit beside Roman columns, repurposed as bank decorations, their marble pockmarked by Visigoth graffiti. A shop window reflects your face, overlapping with Charles V's portrait, both squinting at solarized horizons. At the bridge's midpoint, you pause, the Guadalquivir swirling with stolen iPhone light. Historians still argue whether the Indies archive was built to protect knowledge or imprison it. Your fingertips brush the rail, salty from a million evaporated tears of sailors and archivists. The map's final fold aligns with your lifeline, a crease forking toward the harbor. Cruise ships blare, their horns mangling a flamenco rhythm from some open window. You choose the left path, the one that dodges tour groups and leads to a fly-blown tapas bar. Rain threatens, the first drop smearing your forehead like a monk's ash cross. You glimpse the archive's dome, its gold leaf tarnishing in real time. That Peruvian silver mined by forced labor, already degrading into your sweat's pH balance. Night clerks will stamp new arrivals tonight, unknowingly embossing your fingerprints. The map grows quiet, its duty discharged. You crumple the tourist brochure they'll hand you next week. Its creases, never quite matching the city's hidden seams. Your keys jingle, a loose one for the storage unit, holding 7 bikes, and Hernan Cortez's abandoned PowerPoint slides. Asphalt softens beneath your shoes, Seville's skin absorbing every step. The map sleeps now, dreaming in geometries only lost tourists and bats decipher. Traffic lights bleach the streets, red-green ghosts of maritime signal flags. You whisper coordinates to a stray cat, its pupils expanding into black cathedrals. Somewhere, a historian sneezes over your lover's smudged concert ticket, mistaking it for marginalia. Your shadow returns thinner, fed on ultraviolet and regrets. It clings to the Giralda's shadow, that stolen minaret turned bell tower. Already, the city folds itself anew, creases hidden in festival banners and student protest flyers. You spit in the river, 1 part itinerary, 9 parts myth. The Guadalquivir swallows both without comment. Across town, the archive's night guard adjusts her headset, the map's heartbeat reduced to ambient synth bass. Your phone dies, its final notification, a mistranslated weather alert. Twilight's hinge creaks, the city breathing through manhole covers. Tomorrow's map awaits, already warping in the printer tray. But tonight, you walk home lighter, your pockets full of unmarked intersections. Street lamps flicker, their light pooling like spilled cartographer's ink, each puddle a provisional compass. Dawn licks the rooftops, golden saliva erasing your night's travail. The map rests on the sill, edges blurring into haze as Seville exhales. Your fingers trail its folds, warm from hours of touch, the paper sighing like a lover spent. Across the river, metropole parasols, ribs arch, a fossilized canopy, humming with forgotten Wi-Fi prayers. A breeze combs the Guadalquivir's skin, ripples whispering of Phoenician anchors sunk beneath Zara bags. You pocket the map, its creases nesting against your pulse. Church bells dissolve, their bronze tones leaching into tourist podcasts. A child's ice cream drips, vanilla merging with cobblestones laid by slaves. Your shadow stretches, thin as vellum, before snapping back to heel. The archival stamp on your wrist fades, sweat erasing tonight's ISBN number. Lemon zest lingers, citrus ghosts from the vendor's tattooed hands. Somewhere, Visigoth bones quiet, their parking garage lullaby, muted by elevator music. You pass Roman columns, now bank Dacre their cracks, filled with cryptobro gum. Rain taps Morse code on cafe awnings, a language the map absorbed years ago. Night clerks stir keyboards clattering like looms weaving digital silk. Your phone dies mid-alert, its corpse buzzing with misdated hurricanes. The stray cat follows, pupils wide, as cathedral rose windows. Carnival confetti clings to sewer grates, plastic jewels glinting like mislaid doubloons. Your keys jingle loose change for Cortez's PowerPoint lost to iCloud. The Giralda's shadow drinks your form, its minaret throat full of swallowed stars. You unfold the brochure they'll give you tomorrow. Its creases too eager, too new. The river swallows spit and myth, indifferent as cloud servers. Street lamps bleed light puddles, becoming liquid compasses, pointing nowhere. Your breath slows, sinking with manhole steam. Seville tucks itself into your ribs, a origami city pressed to bone. The final fold lies flush, a heartbeat silenced. Sleep comes carried on moth wings dusted with atlas fragments. Dream in metrics only bats understand.